All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council. Today is June 13th, 2023. That clock is wrong. It's right now at 6:01 p.m. Madam Clerk, please take roll call.
Dave Abdallah.
Here.
Hassan Ahmad.
Here.
Mo Beydoun.
Here.
Nancy Breyer. Here. Robert Constant is absent. Ray Muscat.
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance. This is going to be led by Director Swope, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Swope, from our Police Department. Next up is one of our favorite things in here. We have our Police Chief Hart. This is going to be the swearing in of new police officers. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up.
Thank you, Council Chair and City Council. Am I going to introduce my police force?
Push the green button.
All right. Thank you very much, Council Chair, Mayor, and City Council. Appreciate it. This is one of our most favorite things to do here at the Police Department. I've been communicating with some of these gentlemen on Facebook Messenger, texts, and email, trying to recruit them and get them to join our organization, and many of them are from the community here. They're outstanding individuals. They've passed a very rigorous background check, our licensing check with our Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. And tonight is a highlight of their life here to be sworn in as police officers here in the city of Dearborn Heights. They chose us, and I'm very, very proud of that. So with that, gentlemen, come on up and introduce yourself and introduce the family that are here to support you.
Ahmed Alcross, my fiance Naba Othman. I live in the city of Dearborn Heights. I was a cadet for about 4 years when I was younger. I moved to the city of Dearborn Heights about 2 years ago. It's always been something I wanted to do since I was a kid. And I know this department has a lot of growth, and I wanted to be part of that growth, and I wanted to, be here and make a difference and just grow with this department.
Thank you very much.
All right, I just want to say I hate speeches, so I'm going to keep it short. My name is Muhammad Al-Faji from Dearborn Heights. My family right there. I'm Al-Faji. Kareem. Thanks so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Eddie Czar. I brought an army with me tonight, just in case. Uncle Billy, Uncle Sal, my Aunt Nadia, my mother Fadia, my wife Monira, my son Malik, my daughter Madeline, Aunt Noel, and cousin Ali.
All right, very good. Clerk? Let's do them all together. Council Chair said he wants to be out of here by 7 tonight.
Where do you want us to
There
start?
you go. Face this way. Face your family, folks.
This
There you
way,
go.
like this?
There you go. I'll step out of the way.
Okay, you're gonna say your name after I say I. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
police officer
police officer
and for the city of Dearborn Heights,
in the city of Dearborn Heights,
County of Wayne,
County of Wayne,
State of Michigan,
State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Such an awesome experience to welcome these folks to our team. And part of what we do when we swear in new police officers is we kind of reaffirm our oath of honor here to the community and to our profession. There are plenty of examples of those that tarnish the badge. So it's our commitment to hire and retain and train awesome police officers who will not tarnish this badge. So right now I'm going to go ahead and administer the oath of honor. Gentlemen, just repeat after me. Raise your right hand. Am I in your way?
No, you're good, bro.
All right. I'll come over here. On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my integrity,
I will never betray my integrity,
my character,
or
or the public trust.
the public trust.
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect,
and ensure that my actions are dedicated
and ensure my actions are dedicated
to ensuring the safety of my community
to ensuring the safety of my community
and the preservation of human life.
and the preservation of human life.
I will always have the courage to hold myself
I will always have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable for our actions. I will always maintain the highest ethical standards and uphold the values of my community and the agency I serve. Thank you, gentlemen. Two of these guys got to go to work. One last round of applause.
Well, Chief, I'd like to take this opportunity to commend your ladies and gentlemen on the force. I know I've already let you know about this, but I think they should be publicly acknowledged. I was with my granddaughter at the festival for St. Anselm, and you had 3 of your officers over there, Sergeant Zren and 2 more additional officers, which I know I spoke to you about. And watching them from one of the rides, as little as I could watch them while my granddaughter was going a little crazy, I watched them take a very, I don't want to say hostile situation, but one of the persons in there was a little hostile. And I seen him walk up to the lady who was very upset at the ticket counter, and I'm thinking, honestly, I want to just protect my granddaughter, make sure everything's going to be okay. And I just watched them take a very hostile situation and just bring it down to where she was basically almost laughing, walking away. I don't know what they said to her. I have no idea. But they did a great job on that end. But in addition to that, your officers, I can tell you, I was very proud. Very, very proud. I even took a social media video, and that's rare for me at my age. I was very proud because I watched them walk around, eat pizza with kids, say hello to seniors, say hello to kids, scoot down and shake kids' hands. And I just got to tell you, I love that type of police work where it's very neighborly, very involved, and very entrenched in the community and the residents that they are serving. Yes, we need all the guys and gals there when there's a problematic situation, no doubt about it. But that's also, as you are aware, and I know we've had many conversations about this is a big part of them, I don't want to say their jobs, but it's a beautiful part of their jobs, being involved with the community. So I just want to personally commend your gentlemen for doing that.
I appreciate your recognition and kind words of our officers, and this is the direction that we're heading with our police officers, and it's very important for you gentlemen to hear that our community wants to see you smile, they want to see you wave. When you can, and you're not on a call, they want to see you get out of the car at a park, they want to see you engage the community. Yes. This is the direction, this is going to be the fabric of this police department, is community-oriented policing. Yes, there are times where we have to deal with very serious issues, right? And the world's an ugly place right now. Everything's about me, and it's not about anyone else's feelings or caring about anyone else. And we need to get back to a time where we put others' needs above ours. And thank you so much for recognizing our staff. It was important for these gentlemen to hear this and what our community expects from them. They've heard it from us, they've heard it from the chief, and now they're hearing it from city council, the council chair, and those that are in attendance. So more to come. Very excited to welcome these 3 gentlemen. Eddie Czar's kind of like, I don't know, he could be chief tomorrow, I think, from what I'm hearing. Even though he's of the Dearborn Czars, we welcome him here in Dearborn Heights, and everybody's waving at him, and they're so excited to see him in the community. So you guys have your work cut out for you to live up to Eddie here. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, Chief. Okay, next item on our agenda is agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baidoon.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda of the regular meeting of June 13, 2023, with the clarification that item 7-B is request for bids as submitted.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baidoon, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Papers, huh?
Council Chair?
Now, you mentioned something about, can you, I've got just a quick question. Can you clarify, you said something about 7B, what about it?
It's on the agenda, Council Chair.
I know, but you said,
7B is request for bids
oh, that's it, okay.
as submitted.
Okay, I thought there was something.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was a change, okay.
Council
I
Chair.
have a couple
Councilwoman,
items.
go ahead.
Okay, item 6-4 is about a court order cleanup on Tulane, and it's in the amount of $3,250 without the
That's
about
not-
$750.
That's funds transfer.
Yeah, we're not
there yet.
yet.
I have to wait till we get to that one?
Fund transfers. you
Okay,
can-
all
We're
right.
just doing the agenda.
And then I've got two others, but I'll wait
We
till
got
we
the
get there.
agenda.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay. Any other discussion items?
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman?
I was going to try to walk on something tonight, but I'm going to wait. It's my resolution for the bonuses for the employees. I want to move some money to a restricted account out of our ARPA money, but I'll put it on the agenda for next week, and I'll see how easy it is. Everyone was saying how easy it is to amend the budget, so we'll see how easy it is next week, or next meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councilman. Any other discussions on this?
Bless you.
Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
for the record, Councilman Constant is here.
Okay, they got it. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 23, 2023 as submitted.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baidoon and seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 4B, minutes from the regular meeting of May 23rd, 2023.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes for the regular meeting of May 23rd, 2023 as submitted.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Ahmad and seconded by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda, we had lots of minutes, lots of special meetings, but let's go with minutes from the special meeting of June 6, 2023.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the special meeting of June 6, 2023 as submitted.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baidoon and seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and comment on agenda items only. If anybody would like to speak on agenda items only, you will have 2 minutes. Please state your name, city, and street.
Good evening, Hassan Bazzi, Sheehan, Dearborn Heights.
Wait, I'm sorry, 1 second, Hassan.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to, on number 7A, DPW Director, about the bid for the A and B operator service. I've seen the number here, about 49,200. That's for 3 years contract, I believe. I don't know if you guys, if you are aware of that.
I can pull it up for you.
Okay.
Yes, it's through 2025.
Okay, well, this is just came to my attention here. I was going through the agenda. From the line of the work I do, I think this is an excessive number for 49,200. I just want to be a little bit conservative. I tell you, this number should be slashed in half, maybe less too. So I think you should consider this. It's too much money for this bid and for this kind of service, and that's what we do in our daily life. So I can tell you, I mean, average year cost probably about $5,000. So if you talk in 3 years, that's $15,000. So that's too much money. I think you guys should reconsider this.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for bringing it up, because it's interesting that you do. I have here on my notes to bring that up. I didn't know the cost, but I knew it didn't sound right.
You know, this is what we do for a living,
Yeah.
and this is we deal with this every single day, and
Okay.
that's a very excessive number for this. So please
Okay.
take this
Thank
in
you.
consideration.
Thank you,
Also
Mr.
had that
Bazzi.
flag.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments on agenda items only? You'll have 2 minutes, please. Hello?
Hello. My name is Umar Famari. I'm representing Katrina Mia, the food truck. I just want to say that we're forever grateful for the opportunity we've been given these past 6 months. Business has been great. We're an authentic Mexican food truck. We're the first to serve birria that's halal in all of Michigan. So we're getting a lot of great feedback from the community, and we're so thankful and really excited to continue moving forward with the city of Dearborn Heights. And I just wanted to come up here just to thank you guys and show you guys how grateful we are to be in this community. And we've been in business for 3 years, and this has honestly been the best 6 months we've had here. And we just want to keep better serving the community. And if you guys had any suggestions, we'd like to hear them. So.
I have a suggestion. I've eaten there, and my son-in-laws eat there on a regular basis and bring food home for us. Can you make it not taste as good? Because I'm up probably about 10 pounds from eating there. For those that have not tried it, I got to tell you, you're missing out. It is really, really, really good, and it's authentic. And I know somebody in there was speaking Spanish, so I have no idea what they were saying, but obviously it makes them more of an expert in the field. But it was absolutely delicious.
What are your hours?
Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Location?
6425 North Telegraph Road, right outside the brand new Valero, the Chill Box.
Yeah, it's at Haas and Telegraph right across from the McDonald's.
Right here, yeah. It's literally like
And your
it's a
mom,
walk from here.
your mom is behind all the great cooking, right?
She's my aunt.
Your
Right
aunt.
there, yeah.
By the way, guys, the food is absolutely amazing, so congratulations to you guys. You know what? Look how, one of these guys
No
are buying
samples?
today.
We will. No, whenever you guys want, you guys come by. He came by
For
this
everybody,
morning.
not
yeah.
for us.
Whenever, yeah. If anybody wants, come by right after. We're still open till 10 p.m.
Yeah, so what I really, really like about it is, like I said, well, I don't know if I'm an expert on authentic Mexican or Spanish food, I get it, but you could just tell it's authentic. It's not something that somebody's just trying to make something that's not their deal. This is
You've been there?
the real deal. Yeah, she's running it, and it's, I'm sorry? Oh, okay. It's really good, really good. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Good job, guys.
Any other public comments on agenda items only? Come on up. Our former corporation counselor, Jeremy Yaski.
I'm trying to.
Yes, Gary Mayat, I'm sorry. Gary Mayatki, Plainfield Street. Item 2A. I'm encouraged that we have new officers. We need officers. We are at a real deficit. But I'm very concerned about whether or not we are actually following Act 78, whether or not we are following civil service
I'm
ordinance.
going to
and
raise an
charter.
objection to any legal,
Mr.
legal
Farina,
issues.
you have no basis to cut me
You
off.
can comment on
Okay.
what you want, but please don't
I
give
can
advice
comment on
to
the law
anyone
if I
here,
want
Mr.
to,
Miyake.
whenever I want
You
to.
can object to it, but please don't give legal
You
advice.
can make your
to
own
anything from
statement
the board,
afterwards.
okay?
You
Okay.
have no basis. The
Or
council
any-
chair is the one who
Roger,
basically
just-
runs the meeting,
Okay,
not
one
you.
second. Gary, 1 second. So it's a public comment. At this point, obviously, he's speaking as a public, just a resident, okay?
That's right.
So he'll be allowed to speak, but I agree with Roger that we should keep in mind, of course, Gary Miatke is an attorney, but we should keep in mind for any legal advice, we will get it through our corporation attorney. In the same token, that anybody that comes up here has the right to speak and speak on whatever they want, obviously. So go ahead.
Especially since it's collective bargaining and Act 78 and other issues, and a lawsuit pending with Act 78.
Right.
So he may have been privy at the time the lawsuit was filed, although he left in May. I just don't want any discussion as to it that can impact. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I respect that, but in the same
It's your choice.
token,
I'm just
obviously, you
letting you
can't state something
No,
that
and
would have been in
I'm not
private.
planning. Everything I say is based on public information. It's not based, if this council voted to waive privilege with respect to everything that I know, I would be glad to speak to all those things.
Well, I'm
if
glad you
want me
have
to.
stuff too, and they would waive, and I have a lot of stuff to say too.
Oh,
I would
no,
just ask
no.
you to refrain if you're going to talk about
No, but
collective bargaining
if we're
or
going to-
other
if we're
issues
going to
coming
go
up,
that way-
or a pending lawsuit that it can
If-
impact it, to please refrain from that. That's what I'm saying to
No,
you,
no,
sir.
no, no. I think you're
Thank
trying
you.
to cut me off from being
I'm
able
not.
to
You can
speak on matters of public concern, Mr. Farina. And again, if I am in a position where they want to waive privilege on certain issues, I will address those issues. And they can end up
privilege
doing
on a
it in
lot of
they
issues
can
if you
do it
wanna
in a
go there.
closed session if
Roger,
they want
let's-
to with me.
If
and
you
invite
want to
me
go
into it.
there, we can waive a lot of issues.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, no
Let's-
problem.
Okay.
No
It's
problem.
fine.
No problem.
Guys,
Back to my
okay,
time?
this is
Thank you.
Not a courtroom, we're in a council meeting.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay,
So-
but just, again, just a quick second. Again, council members, just keep in mind, yes, he's an attorney, and yes, he's privileged to a lot of previous information, but keep in mind, at this point, he is speaking as a resident, so any type of potential advice or comments, keep that in the back of your head, and you got to verify that through our corporation counsel.
And
Go ahead.
nothing I'm saying is based on privileged information, and nothing I am saying should be taken as legal advice to this body.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if someone contacted me and asked me to represent them, I
Sorry.
would potentially be able to do so.
Okay. Just to be,
Against the
just
city.
1 second. I'm going to start you 2 minutes again, because I know we're back and
Appreciate it.
I
forth.
Thank you.
disagree if it's anyone from this board.
Oh, you mean I wouldn't be able to represent any member of the city council? Is that what you're saying?
Cases that you're, pending and information that you have, privileged information that you have access to, you're
It-
gonna step in and represent someone here on this, and any action, is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't end up actually saying, but if someone ended up,
You're planning a lawsuit or something like this, or you're representing someone here?
Council Chair, come on.
Okay, but, okay, Gary.
you need to
Okay,
control.
so
it.
Roger, let's-
He's not a member of your body. You
I
have control
understand
of
that.
council.
I understand that.
Chair.
Okay. 1 second. We were given that, sir. Okay, go, 1 second. Let him get him started. Go ahead and get him started. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, as I was saying, I'm encouraged by the idea that we're bringing in new officers. I am concerned that we are not following the requirements of Act 78, and I base this on information that is publicly available, but also not necessarily generally disseminated. I think we have had a very, very problematic way of approaching Act 78, and I think we are having a problem with approaching civil service in general. And I think these things need to be looked at by the council very closely, and these things need to end up being abided by. I think a lot of people don't realize that Act 78 is not only the law in the city that applies, but a violation of Act 78 can be a crime. Section 15 and Section 16 of Act 78 make it a crime not to follow those provisions of Act 78. So you need to be mindful of that. And I'm not saying this is advice to you, because I'm not in the position to give you such advice. But I am saying it as a concerned citizen, and I think you need to understand that the problems that you have with the police department do not stem from a few bad apples. You don't have people leaving and starting a career somewhere else because they are just changing their mind or don't like the pay structure. They are leaving because they are dissatisfied with the way things are going and the future they end up seeing for the city and for the department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
For
sir.
the record, Council Chair, I disagree with everything that was said, and we will prepare a written response to Mr. Miyake.
So I was just about to tell you, you beat me to the punch. So, of course, obviously, you're entitled to your opinion, as he is entitled to his. No, I understand. Well, whatever it is, whatever you want to say, anybody can say whatever they want. In the same token, if you don't mind, Roger, based on some of these comments, if you feel you want to retort, maybe email all of us council members with your answers. Thank you.
Council Chair?
Yes.
You were part of that closed session, we talked about the issue in the police department, and you guys are already aware of what was going on and all the investigations that were going on.
Okay.
Council Chair, may I?
We can't, no, we're done, we're done. Anybody else that would like to go up and speak, public comments on agenda items only?
Good evening, Zuhair Abdelhat. I was asked several times when I was on the council by this mayor to put on the agenda the Act 78 so we can approve it and we put it on the ballot to get rid of it. And unfortunately, I was dumb enough to follow his advice and to follow what he asked from me, and I did bring it up twice, and I apologize, and I'm not here for any reason. I apologize for making that move because it was the wrong move, because Act 78 is the best thing happening in the police department, and it should be followed. And I just want to ask the mayor, are those lawsuits pending against him? And why? And how much it cost the city so far? Because there is a settlement, which I read from papers from the Treasury Department, which is public information. There is a settlement for $2 million. I don't know if you are aware of it, if it was in closed session, and I FOIA'd yesterday. I want to know who are the recipient of $2 million of taxpayers.
1 second, sir. No, you don't have to go away. Gentlemen and ladies, council members, do not comment on this, because anything
I'm not
that's...
asking
No,
for comment.
I'm just making sure they're not gonna.
I know the rules,
'Cause it's
and I
a
will
clo-
not
No, I'm not
expect
asking
any
you. I'm
comment.
saying because it's in a closed session, please, no comments on this. But go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to know, and I did ask it twice and no response from the city, and yesterday I took 2 copies, and I have him sign copy for me, and copy, I kept it with them. And I expect answers. What are those $2 million paid and why? This is taxpayers' money. And we should know who sued the city and why, and if somebody is at fault, caused a big lawsuit which caused big amount of money, there should be accountability in the city, and it is the city council duty to know why these things, because you have the power to censure, you have the power to investigate, you have the power to subpoena. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman, please state if you're speaking as a councilman or as a resident.
Tom Wenzel, resident, Tulane Street, Dearborn Heights.
But you're, just to be clear, you're speaking as a resident, correct?
Speaking as a resident,
Go
yes. I was kind of, got my curiosity about this Act 78, and I would like to give my time over to Mr. Miyake if he cares to explain what the violations were.
I apologize, but it's not allowed, Councilman.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Groups of people do it all the time.
No.
Not in this policy. We voted on that as a group.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Is that written down somewhere?
Anybody that wants to comment, obviously, you know, they're welcome to comment then during public comment section. Again, that's up to them, but.
Well, statements were made that I'm really curious about. And
I know,
there's
but
no way, how are we going to find out about them?
We could look into it through administration, or you're welcome to call whoever you want to call after the fact, but it cannot be, you cannot pass your time over to somebody else. That's something we don't allow. I apologize.
I think that's against any rules that I've heard of. I mean, can we make a rule like that under Robert's Rules of Order?
I could ask our corporation counsel. I've never heard of it.
We'd have to all vote. Residential groups do it all the time. Residents come in and speak as a group.
It's his choice whether he's going to follow or listen to you, but you've said it cannot be done.
Yeah.
We did
You've
that as a
spoken.
group, and we passed that ordinance. That was a long time
It's an
ago.
It was a while
ordinance,
back. No, it was not an ordinance.
Oh, I
It
see.
was a city council body agreement.
And Mr. Miyake was was our
Corporation
attorney
counsel.
when we had this too. And he never said that we had to do it.
Well,
Okay?
we've done it in the last year. We had a group of.
No, we never
Yeah.
passed
You may
our
have-
time.
We had a
may have seen
neighborhood
it within a-
association come in there and they
You
had
may
one.
have seen it, you may
Yeah.
have seen it, Councilman, maybe in another particular.
Comments not
entity. I'm
allowed.
Sure, I've never seen it.
He also has 3 minutes at the end of the meeting to continue.
Let's just get the guys, this meeting's going, like, we got to start,
Yeah.
Council Chair. Let's get on with this.
Anybody else that would like to have a public comment on
This was
agenda
supposed to be a
items
short
only?
meeting. It's,
Okay, nobody else? Anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
Mexican today.
that's what we want. We want to eat.
Nobody? Okay. All right. Next up on the agenda is item 6A, claims and, I'm sorry, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims and ACH wire transfer 6-1 through 6-51 as submitted.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Bedun and seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that?
Council
Yes.
Chair, I think the
Councilwoman, go ahead.
All right, item 6-4, the court order cleanup at 4172 Lane for the ordinance department. I'm wondering if that will be reimbursed to us. It's a rather extensive amount, $3,750.
It will be.
The answer is yes? Okay. Okay, because if they're not living there, they probably won't want to do it. Yeah. Okay, so, and then also 6.6 and 6.7, BLN Emergency Management. I know this is doing with ARPA money, and I'm wondering, we have a contract with them, and this is March 1 through 31st, and April 1 through April 30th. And apparently, we're looking at about 28,000 being paid, but the overall amount that we've got is pretty extensive. That comes off of what's left after we do the 10 million, and isn't there another 2 out there? What we're doing is, we've got all their expenses here for those 2 months, and apparently we have a contract with them for $1,305,600. Okay, now is this the last of what's going to be? Okay.
Here's your microphone on.
Good afternoon. Again, they are hired for $1 million, up to $1 million, based on task-specific projects that we give them. Right now, they've worked on 2 projects for us, which was the surveys to the public, as well as the MyHave and LEHWEB program development for our residents to get their mortgages, water bills, utilities paid for. So those are the projects that they're currently billing us for. If you do want to provide ARPA funds for the residents, that is a project that you would request this organization to do for you, making sure that we are following the guidelines to provide that premium pay for the employees of the city. So if as a body you want to follow Mr. Wenzel's recommendation, you can certainly request that in a motion or send us an email so that we can engage with them on that project and see what the costs are going to be for that.
Council Chair, how much have we paid this company so up to date, or including this project that they're working on?
I believe about $48,000.
$48,000. Thank you.
Council
Okay,
Chair?
I had a couple of questions since you're up there, if you don't mind, Mariana. A couple different ones had, and I'll tell you which ones, 620, they're all the same situation, 623, 630, 642, 644, and 645. All of them have total payout amount 0, but yet there's bills. So just want to get a clarification, why that would be? There's bills in them.
If you want to show me
2000
afterwards, I can see, but again, the backup should be there of what each invoice was.
But at the end, the payout was, there's invoices, like, I can tell you amounts, 2241.
Yeah, even.
So it should add up to what the total invoice is.
I knew what you said, I'm sorry.
Sorry, the invoices at the back should add up what the total is. So I don't know where you're seeing that
So on
zero.
the front, on each one of these, it says total payout amount is 0. But yet there's bills of different dollar amounts on each and every one of these. I can hand these, you could look them over and let me know, that's fine. But, and then when you're ready, you could go up and just give an explanation, because I don't want to exclude them from the vote.
Council Chair, I had a question too.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, this is a PO, so that just means that the company's pre-approved. That's not an actual invoice, that's our own purchase order.
Internal?
That says that they're verified.
Okay, but why do they say, I thought it was payout.
So that cover page it's a weird method that our city utilizes and we need to update, but that just means that it's a purchase order. That the only reason that page is there is because it tells the controller's department that that's a pre-approved company with a pre-approved contract.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it doesn't have to come for a reapproval of what that contract is.
Got it, thank you. Councilman Ahmad?
Yeah, Mariana, I'm sorry, I had a, so you said we approved up to $1 million, to pay them up to $1 million?
Yes,
So
in
how
your
come the
contract.
contract says 1.3?
Or, I'm sorry, 1.3, whatever it is. I was just,
1.3.
I don't have it in front of me right now, but whatever the contract says, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from council members? Hearing none, motion made by Councilman Baidoon and seconded by Councilman Muscat. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 7A, DPW Director Conrad.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council award the bid for A&B Operator Systems to Phoenix Environmental as the only bidder and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. Further, provided the mayor also authorizes such payment as a necessary expense, the city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the council authorizes such warrant and payment without prior authorization by the city council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted by and consistent with the city charter, section 8.9, as outlined in 7A.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Director Conrad, I had a question for you on this one. And then the gentleman in the audience, Mr. Hassan Bazzi, also brought it up. That's his field of work, so I had on there, on my notes, 1. So when we put it out for bids during the bidding, what you wrote on here is you put it out for bids, and I think it was like 2 or 3 times, and you only got 1 bid. And I get that. That has nothing to do with you. That's not your fault, obviously. But the question I had, when you get just 1 bid on something like this, I don't know what the real cost is. I have no idea, personally. But when you only get 1 bid, that's not going to give you any type of reference point as to whether that's a good amount or a bad amount. So again, I had a 1 here to ask you, why only 1 bid? That's not enough to make a determination unless you personally have some sort of expertise in this particular field. With that being the case, my conclusion was even more verified when Mr. Bazzi said that he's in the field, that this amount is just way too high. So what is to me, somebody should know that this is too high, either calling them, questioning them, or put it out for bids again. I don't know, advertise it more. I don't know the answers, but we can't just because we got 1 bid on something that I didn't know what the real cost would be. Let's say something should be $100,000 and we get a bid for $380, but because we only got 1 bid, we just take it. Somebody should be able to look that over, checks and balances, and say, no, we're not going to accept this at all.
Well, we placed this out for bid. I did a 2-week bidding on BidNeck. I believe the first time 11 companies downloaded the bid and the spec, and we got only the 1 bid. Comptroller's office suggested that, we extend that another week, and we reduced our bid bond or our bid deposit by 50%. I think we dropped it down to $500. I don't know that number exact, but we did reduce the bid deposit, thinking maybe the bid deposit was too much for the first, letting. After another week, we still got only 1 bid. So that's why I proceeded with this. I don't know what reference they're having. I mean, one of the things that may be a little different than what Mr. Bazzi's thinking the price should be is we did require that all the information be cloud-based and available 24/7, so that, so I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, what was done in the past is it was just done with paper and pencils and files and stuff when we did our, tank submission and we redid our tanks, there was some issues with the way we were doing it. So that is one of the reasons why, I want to go with somebody who's a professional A/B operator. And that's why we put this out to bid.
No, and I'm not
if Mr.
questioning
Bazzi,
having-
I don't know why. I mean, if he could have provided us a better rate, I mean, how come, his company didn't look at this and bid on it?
Well, they don't have to,
number of
obviously.
people
I know,
looked at
but
it.
my main question is not questioning whether we need this particular product. Let's
Right,
go
oh,
off of
we
we
do
need
need
it.
it.
That's fine. The question is, when we only get 1 bid after we put it out for bid, and nobody's bid except 1 person, and let's use a number, like right now here, we have it for 3 years, I think it was like 49 off the top of my head or something like that.
49,002.
Yeah. So let's just use a hypothetical number right now of 200,000 came in on this. I, for one, as a council member, my specialty is real estate. I have no idea if that number is good, bad, or ugly, okay? So the question is, who in our city would be able to say, hey, no, this number doesn't make sense? Or do we just, I'm gonna tell you right now, so far today, based on my, worry, and then what Mr. Bazzi said, me personally, I'm voting no. But what is gonna be our checks and balances to make sure this number is reasonable?
Well-
Let's pretend Mr. Bazzi wasn't here.
Okay, looking at, just like one of the pay items is the weekly and monthly inspections. I mean, they take several hours, they're charging $100 for that. I mean, they have travel costs and everything to get to our place. I don't think that those are unreasonable for somebody to come and do the inspections. You know, the weekly, the monthly, the annual, you know, they increase in duration and the things that they have to check. So, I mean, you know, if, you know, those weekly inspections would have been $500, you know, for a weekly inspection, and I know, you know, takes a little bit over an hour, I would say, yeah, that's excessive. But I mean, $100 for an hour inspection, including travel time, I mean, that's not unreasonable. I mean, you know, I don't think, I mean, you know, I think Dearborn Schools uses them, Ford Motor Company uses them. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, people who, I mean, maybe not small operators use them, but, you know, big operators like Ford and municipalities, you know, I use Phoenix, or, you know, they're some of their clients.
Mr. Conrad, I got a question. That's okay, Council Chair.
Councilman Bedun and Councilman
I
Muscat.
think Councilman Muscat.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
And mine's just simple. Mr. Conrad, do you think that this is well and beneficial for the city, and do you think this is a good bid?
I mean, I'm not an expert in the fuel system, but I mean, it, you know, based on, you know, the weekly and monthly hourly rates that they're charging, I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, and, you know, a lot of this is, you know, not to exceed, you know, there's some other things, you know, like, you know, emergency calls and things like that. Well, if we never have an emergency, we never use that money, you know, so, you know, like I say, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm honest with you. I'm not an expert in the fuel system, but I mean, you know, looking at, you know, what we pay other people to do things, you know, $100 for an hour and a half, you know, doesn't seem that bad, you know, for an inspection. I mean, it sounds like a lot because it's a 3-year contract, you know.
Okay. Councilman Muscat?
I got a question, because service contracts to me, sometimes the way they're written, they're about as useless as lips on a chicken. And I see weekly inspections, we got 40 of them for $100.
Yeah.
We got 11 monthly inspections, and we have an annual inspection. What do they do different in each inspection? That the price goes from $100 a week to $1,200 for the annual inspection. So you got to know what they're going to do more.
I'm not exactly sure because I'm not an A&D operator, but I mean, each one of them goes more in depth into the inspection, you know, as to what they're looking at, what systems they're checking to make sure there's no leaks or anything like that. You know, they're looking at records and things like that that we're keeping. So, and again, I mean,
And
you know, there's only 40 weekly inspections because when they come out and do a monthly inspection, they don't charge us for a weekly that time. You know, so I mean, if you add up all those, they should add up to 52 weeks.
And yes,
So,
it's 52.
I mean, you know, so, you know, part of what they're doing is they're doing the weekly inspection along with the monthly inspection at the same time, which is a more in-depth inspection. And then when they do, you know, the annual inspection, they're doing the weekly, the monthly, and the more in-depth annual inspection. So that's why those prices increase for those. Again, you know, I'm very limited on, you know, what the fuel system, I learned a lot of this just in dealing with the corrections and things that we had to do to our fuel system in the last 6 months, you know, to put it back into service.
Now,
So-
our fuel, well, I'm not done. Our fuel system, okay, and that just supports DPW, correct?
Yes, I mean, but there is, like, the fire department will fill up there on occasion. SEMTA, you know, the recreation uses our fuel pumps to fuel up their SEMTA vehicles. So, I mean, there's a very small other group of users of our fuel system.
You know, I don't see what, in the contract, what they're going to do on these inspections, and that's what bothers me. I mean, somebody could just come over there with a flashlight, and they're done, okay? I want to know what I'm going to get as a customer when they do an inspection. If I go out and inspect something, it may be a little bit different than what somebody else inspects, okay? But I don't see anything in here that tells me what they're going to do on each inspection. And that's the problem I have with all of our service contracts.
So this isn't a service contract. This is a reporting requirement.
But they're not telling you what
I'm
they're
failing the acronym now that requires us to do these.
And I know we have to
these
have
reporting.
it.
And, you know, what they're looking for and what they're reporting on, it's not anything that I've made up. It's made up by, you know,
NFPA?
the,
NFPA?
no.
That's a state problem.
When he's done.
And I understand what you're saying, but again, and I know we have to have this because we do have storage tanks. The problem is I don't know what I'm paying for. They're telling me a weekly inspection. What does that consist of?
Well,
what does a monthly inspection consist of, or the annual? I don't know what they're going to do.
Then you have to blame me. I mean, I just don't have that fuel. I mean, I guess if I had all that information in my mind, I could be the AB operator. You know, I mean, Laura is the company that, or the organization that certifies and makes, and they're the ones who go through and check all of our fuel reporting and our inspections and things like that. So, I mean.
Can I make a suggestion, please? Is if we can get some of that information and bring it back, refer this back to the administration so we get some of these
I
questions.
support.
Answer this.
All right, I will, next council meeting, I'll supply you with what the Laura reporting requirements are for weekly, monthly, annual.
Okay, so-
Robert made the motion.
I know, but one second. Councilman Ahmad had a question.
Yes, I had a question.
Councilwoman
Did we
Breyer.
use this company before? Who did we use before, and how much was it before?
We did this in-house,
Before?
Yes.
So whoever used to do is not there anymore?
correct.
What did it cost us? Do you know that number?
Well, he was an employee.
Well, I mean, it was part of their employee salary, plus, you know, I think they might have got a hourly bump for having the certificate. But, I mean, based on the problems we had, or the things that we've discovered when we did our fuel system revamp, I mean, I don't really think we should be doing this in-house. I mean, when you do something in-house, you tend to overlook a lot of things that you should address. And by having a third party look at these things, you know, they're going to tell you, hey, you need to fix this, or, you know, Laura's going to shut you down when they come by and look. You know, I mean, as long as I'm in charge, I think, you know, it would be better to have a third party, you know, making sure that we're doing things correctly and in the way they're supposed to be done.
So if you vote no on this today, what happens next? You send it back for bidding, or?
I can amend it.
Possible for bidding or
I-
possibly
I
it's
just
off
like to
table
have
right
the
now.
answers to the questions.
I mean, the way I'm thinking about it, so this is like every gas station has to do?
Every gas station has to do this.
Yeah, but I don't see like gas station paying that much money in 3 years, to be honest.
I don't know. Okay.
Council
so
Chair?
Next, Councilwoman.
Well, my
Breyer?
question was, when do we have to do this by? Is there a deadline?
I mean, yes, we don't have I've been using Phoenix to do my inspections and putting them on council claims because they were the company that did our fuel island system and got them back online. This is just a formality to make them my operator for the next 3 years. But yes, I am currently, occasionally you'll see a bill for Phoenix Environmental on current claims. And, I've been putting them there because, I have to provide my weekly inspections. So,
And my second question was, do we anticipate having 80 hourly rates for service calls? Do we anticipate 80? in a
no,
year's
but I
time?
mean, it's there in case, there's some issues, some discoveries that come up during one of the weekly or monthly or
No, is that-
annual inspections that would require.
Is that 80 per year or 80 for 3 years?
So that's like an as-needed part of it. I mean, the only thing that is required, is the weekly, monthly, annual, those inspections. Some of those other items at the end there are more like as needed, you hope you don't need them, but they're there if you
Right.
do.
Okay.
Council Chair?
Yes.
Councilman Constant and then Councilman Wenzel.
So, Mr. Conrad, if you can say, past years, has there been other companies? Was it always Phoenix past years? And then what was the amount of the original bond requirement? It's now 1,000. So what was it previously when you lowered it?
I believe we lowered it to 500 for
So
the,
what was it?
oh, I think it was 1,000 and we
1,000, it
lowered it
says
to
1,000,
5.
I thought you said it was a higher amount and you lowered it to 1,000.
I think it was 1,000, the bid deposit, and we lowered it to 500, hoping to get more bids. And
So the first time with the 1,000, you didn't get any?
we got one,
This particular company?
correct.
Okay, because I would agree that I can amend my motion to just need more information.
Okay. Let's see what Councilman Wenzel has. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council Chair. You know, I'm here to represent the people, and we spent a lot of time on this, and my bet is that a lot of you don't even know what we're talking about, you know. These, correct me if I'm wrong, there's some gas tanks, 1 or 2, that are at the DPW, are underground, that the city is required to have inspected.
Correct.
The gas station has their tanks inspected for leaks and different things, but it's been going on, I just want to clear that up with everyone here. It's only on 1 or 2 tanks. What is it?
We have 2 tanks, well, 2 tanks and we have a used oil tank.
Okay, so that's for 2 tanks on the DPW property. It's not tanks all over the city or anything
Right.
like that. Okay. Just wanted to clear that up.
So Councilman, you want,
Council Chair?
you want to amend your motion?
Yeah, tell me when you're ready, Council Chair.
I'd also like to see this, just, for us to understand this better, I'd like to see this go out for bids. Maybe we can try to get a couple other bidders, just so we get a better understanding.
And probably go
Council
out
Chair?
somehow other than BidNet. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's just on BidNet, could we go out and expand the bid
Maybe a corporation.
outside BidNet? I don't
Council
know.
Chair?
I mean, just
I
thinking out
don't
loud
do
here.
purchasing. I mean, that's comptroller's office is in charge of purchasing. I mean,
Let's get the additional.
But I mean,
information.
and that's hardly fair to the current person here that, put in a bid. I mean, his stuff is all here in the council meetings. I
But we
mean,
have a question mark as to the amount, so I'm just thinking out loud here. For something like this, if all gas stations use the same thing,
but are they all doing it the same way?
I don't know. But I'm just wondering out loud, to me, even a phone call, I'll tell you right now, personally, I've always hated this BidNet stuff. To me, I like the old school way. I mean, you can use BidNet, but if you need more bids, one second, you make a couple of calls. So to me, you can make a couple of calls to even gas station people and say, who do you use? Does this number look reasonable? Bid on this. That's where I would do it, but that's old school.
Council Chair, so
level
just to finish, maybe Corporation Council could put something for us, because maybe it's our charter, maybe something's stopping us from going out and bidding outside of BidNet. And so, I don't know why we don't go outside of BidNet, but I don't know, Mr. Corporation Council can speak on that?
To who you're putting out or opening up for bids. There's other websites and you can put it out. I mean, it may be the issue that other companies may not find it financially feasible to get involved in this. That
Also,
might be the
Well,
reason why.
based on this bid, they probably are, but.
Council Chair, I
Okay,
think
so
the
now
hold on.
we're gonna close this off.
I just want to end it real quick, guys, then, if we can go out and we can expand our wings, we're in the 21st century. We should be, there should be ads on social media, we should be in the newspaper, we should be in the yellow pages, everywhere, guys. We shouldn't just be on BidNet. That's
Council Chair.
terrible.
But 8 companies
limiting ourselves.
downloaded it and didn't submit a bid.
Well, because we're only on BidNet.
But they
That's where
still,
everybody looks.
they looked at it and they decided they didn't want the work.
I think the next step is.
So this is gonna be the last comment.
You can't force people to submit a bid.
But we also do expect for people to be limited.
Councilman, that's it. Okay, nobody from the audience, please. Okay, last comment. Amend
I
your
think the
motion
next
or
step
let's vote
is
on
to
this.
refer it back to the
Either
administration.
that or vote on
We
it.
get the information, let's say we get the information in the next meeting. If
Okay.
not, it's up to the administration to have it rebid.
Okay, make your
I
motion.
move that we refer item 7A back to the administration and DPW for further information, and then the administration can consider if it should be sent out for rebid. And the issue of how we advertise for bid, whether we use BidNet or Facebook or whatever, that's a separate issue.
Second by Nancy?
I'll second it if we put in a time frame.
As soon as possible, because
We got 2 weeks, 2 more
ASAP,
weeks.
the legal term is forthwith.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a motion made by Councilman Constant, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. All in favor? This is to go back out to administration. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah.
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad.
Yes.
Mo Baidoon.
No.
Nancy Breyer.
Yes.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, motion carried.
I just want people to know for the
Did it
record that
carry
I'm.
or fail?
Well, it's
Carried,
carried
sir.
to go back to
To the
administration.
administration.
I want you to know that my no vote is because I want it to go out back for bids. not
Well,
just to
that's
the-
what he said. They said to
We
send it
know
back to the
it's going back to
administration
give us information on it.
And go back out.
and reconsider to take back, send it out for bidding.
He didn't say that in his.
Well, I'm pretty sure they are, but otherwise.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 7B, Library Director McCaffrey, request for bids.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the Comptroller's Office to advertise for bids for the Caroline Kennedy Library Carpet Replacement Project as outlined in 7-B.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad and seconded by Councilman Baidoon. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is reports from mayor, item 8A, Michigan Municipal League membership renewal.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the payment for the annual Michigan Municipal League membership renewal in the amount of $12,563 to be paid to GLA account, account number 101-200-958.000 as outlined in 8A.
Second.
Okay. Okay, motion made by Councilman Baidoon and seconded by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8B, communication supporting the Alliance of Rouge Communities.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council receive, note, and file the communication supporting the Alliance of the Rouge Communities, ARC, proposal, tree canopy investment in unserved communities, underserved communities in southeast Michigan for funding through the USDA Forest Services and Urban Community Forestry Program as outlined in 8B.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat and seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Councilman?
You know, I received an email from one of our citizens along these lines about community tree planting grants. And I don't know if I should bring this up now or bring this up at new business for council people. Should we just?
I'll keep it for new business.
Okay, that's just fine. I just wanted to ask, make sure that we're aware of that.
And you could reference this particular thing, but it's not, whatever you're gonna mention is not gonna affect the vote.
No, I just want to, it was along the same line, so I thought I'd mention it and
No
make
problem.
sure that we,
Any other discussion items on 8B? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9A, reports from city officials.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase and payment of 105 monitors for the computers in the city libraries for a total cost of $12,867.75. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue the following payment from account number 738-891. Moreover, provided the mayor also authorizes such payment as necessary expense, the city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council is authorizing any such warrants and payments without prior authorization by the city council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted and consistent with City Charter, Section 8.9, as outlined in 9A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant and seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
is this coming out of the library account? Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion items on that? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is new business, item 13A, business license renewals.
Council, go ahead. Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the renewal of business license for Fairlane Eagles, number 3861 at 20738 Van Born. Happy Wealthy 168 LLC at 5680 North Telegraph. Connect Auto Sales LLC at 4413 South Beach Daily. And Stitt Carl E. Post 232 at 23850 Military as outlined in 13A.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Muscat and seconded by Councilman Baydun. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I'd like the question to be answered by our corporation counsel. I know we're renewing business licenses here, and in the past this past year, we've had some issues with a few businesses that are not complying with their site plan. The police has been called out to the place, the building engineering department, and ordinance. What do we need to do to stop businesses from violating their site plan? I don't want to mention a business right offhand right now, but there's got to be something that when they violate their site plan, something should be done immediately. I mean, we can't keep calling the police and have them go out there and do this because, it's concerning even our roadways, is what I'm concerned about.
I know we started looking overall at all the businesses, the ones that have defaulted on their tickets. We've tried moving them, and we're moving them in progress because a number of defaults have been issued. We're putting them on the tax roll. We're going to be going after more of the businesses to clear up, make sure they have the CFOs and the business licenses. A number of them don't. So we're collecting all of them. We're going to be looking at the other issues with the buildings department, exactly what you're talking about. So we're trying to, this hasn't been done for a lot of years. We have stuff from 2019, 2017, 2018. We're collating in 2022, 2023. So we are putting it together. We're working with the ordinance department, who enforces it, as well as the building department and with our clerk's office.
I just, want to mention out to the public that, the ordinance department, building engineering, and police department are doing the best they can to correct some of these violations, but sometimes it's just, it's too hard to do it when these businesses continuously, they clean up their act for 2 or 3 weeks and then go right back at it again. So,
Well, that's part of what we've talked about with a blight campaign as well. Make sure that they comply with all the ordinances. And they've got to be the stellar representative to the city, and they're our face to the public. And I think we are taking it seriously, and we are collecting and working with the different departments to put a new image and a new attack, a new approach, as well as community involvement with these issues.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion items on this? Hearing none.
Council Chair?
all-
Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
I'm sorry. It's no secret how I feel about used car lots in Dearborn Heights. I think we've got plenty of them. I was wondering if our ordinance director is online.
yes.
He is.
Can-
Director Disharoon,
Yes.
please unmute.
No, they don't.
Go ahead, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Director. Can you tell me if you've had any issues with Connect Auto Sales in the past, as far as ordinance violations?
Which one is that, Councilman Wenzel? The
Connect-
one, is it the one on Van Born?
South Beach Daily.
Yes,
South
on
Beach
South
Daily.
Beach Daily.
Council Chair, are we naming businesses specifically? Because they
Yeah,
don't have a
actually,
chance
you're right.
to
Correct.
comment on, thank you.
Well, although at the same time,
It's on the
it's on the
renewal.
agenda with the license renewal.
Okay.
But I think we should refrain from naming specific people. I tell you myself, I remember this particular business in the past, having come in front of the council body, and I don't recall ever any particular issues myself with that business.
Well, I mean, Council Chair, don't we have the information in front of us if they're, delinquent on their water bill? I mean,
Right,
we
everything
would-
except ordinance.
We
don't
would,
have
we would
ordinance.
have that,
Yeah,
so I
anything
mean,
but ordinance, so.
That's something we
I've had,
should put out.
well, the reason I'm asking is I had some neighbors in that area say that there's issues that they've had there that they reported. Yeah, I'm
And
wondering
then in that
if the
particular case,
director-
just to be fair, to this particular business, we can't vote potentially no on something just based on what a resident said to somebody else.
No, I'm
So-
asking the
No, I
director,
understand.
yeah.
So if there is something, then they should go directly to the ordinance, and the ordinance would check into it. I just don't want to be.
No, I know, that's what I'm asking, if there was
yeah.
any issues, because
And
if
I think
he
there's
says to
issues,
me.
we can let the council
Yeah,
know
yeah,
beforehand.
if he
so
says
the
to me,
business can have a
Council Chair?
chance to respond.
Yes. Go ahead, Councilman.
If the director said to me, oh, yeah, we have no complaints at all, or if he says we have 10 complaints a day, that would make a difference on how I vote on this. And I know, I've heard some residents, I'll say it, that they've had issues with double parking vehicles there.
Okay.
And I know.
So then in that particular case, they got to follow, the tracks. The next step would be to call ordinance directly.
That's why
for
I'm
them.
asking if there has been.
Yeah. He's saying he's not aware of any off the
Is
top
that
of
what
his
he's
head.
saying?
Isn't that what you said, Director?
I am not aware of any currently, but we are working on a different process moving forward when these renewals come up. I will tell you that.
Yeah, we should. I agree. I like that idea, maybe getting some information on.
On this report also, when we get it.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the report, we already get, see if their
So-
water's delinquent, we could see if they're up to their taxes,
So
see if they got any violations.
I agree with that, but let's look into this. Just, Roger, in the future, I'd be okay with having, if there's any particular business has any ordinance issues, but first thing, we got to look into legalese of this, A.
Yeah.
And then B, if it is allowed, then obviously we could work with the clerk's office and they can start checking with the ordinance department before they give us licenses to be renewed, if you don't mind. But initially, Roger's going to look into the legalese of this. In other words, can you, I'm just speaking out loud here. Let's say, a particular business had, grass was a little high. Instead of, 3-4 inches, it was 6 inches. So do we not give them a license because of that? That's not a good idea, obviously.
No, but if they've had
So if you
blight
look
for
into the
6 years.
legalese, let us know, and then we'll go ahead and have the clerk maybe add that as an additional item in the future.
Yes, and we started doing that on a case-by-case, every business, case-by-case basis. The clerk and I have been meeting on every business with certain issues. So we will continue, we will include ordinance
Okay,
for
thank
your
you.
reports.
So let's go ahead and take this to a vote. Item 13A, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, because of that issue, I wasn't clear.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please take roll call.
We're gonna go backwards this time. Ray Muscat,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Mo Baidoon,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Dave Abdallah,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the
Council Chair,
agenda is.
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
in the future, maybe, we should bid on license renewal separately instead of bunching of, grouping a bunch of them together in one vote.
We could.
So what we've done in the past, Councilman, sorry, if you don't mind. What we've done in the past, Councilman, if there's like, let's use hypothetical 7, right? We vote on it, but if any council member had a particular issue with one particular one, then we'll go ahead and do them individually. So long as they're okay with all of them, there's no sense in wasting time going through them one at a time, since in general, most of the time it's a formality. But I do see your point, though. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item 13B.
Council Chair.
Katrina. Go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the renewal of the temporary food truck tent cart license application for Katrina Mia as outlined in 13A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baidoon and seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair, I believe you were there today.
Yeah, it was beyond delicious. It was really,
Okay.
really good, authentic food. And I do have to commend also, it kind of tied to your comment there, Councilman Wenzel. I have to commend the gas station owners there at Haas and Telegraph. As a lot of us know, for a long time, that was arguably an eyesore. And right now, it looks absolutely beautiful. So it's a new Somerset Mall gas station of Dearborn Heights. It looks absolutely beautiful. Love it. So good job to the owners.
Council Chair.
Yes, but the food was great.
The rumor has it, from what your sister said, you're buying everybody on council today.
No problem.
All right, that's for the record.
I heard it too.
I'm
You
going
got
right
it.
after, by the way. Hassan, I'm
You
not
got
ready
it.
to go.
You got it.
And you can't have more than 4, so me, you, and.
You got it. All right, Councilman Muscat.
I'm not going to vote no on this. I just want to make something clear. But what I envision this whole food truck ordinance stuff and having food trucks, I envision in my mind that the food truck would show up one day and do their business, then leave and go park their vehicle someplace else. And then they would come back the next day and set up again. This is starting to make our city not look very well. And we have to start looking at this ordinance a little bit closer. So I'm not gonna say no to this because he's just renewing his temporary license right now. But in the future, I think we need to look at that very carefully because food trucks are scattered throughout the city and it's starting not to look very well. It's no different than people who aren't supposed to have their vehicles for work parked on the street overnight. We've got a lot of commercial vehicles on the street that really aren't supposed to be there. Okay, that's been an ordinance forever. Okay, and we don't push that because a lot of them are heating and cooling and people are on call and they need their vehicle. And I can understand it, but it's getting out of hand and we're promoting this and we should, my opinion is we should look at that ordinance about how long they can stay in one location for the hours. So that's just the opinion of mine.
Okay, and I respectfully disagree. I think it gives great vibe to a city when you have food trucks in different areas.
I'm not saying
for
that.
people to try different food, I know.
I'm not
But
saying
also, a lot of these food trucks, like I'm gonna give you an example, this particular place, which, again, is great. This is something, as they do better and better, and I'm not, deciding for their business, but there's a high likelihood somebody like that would probably figure, I'm doing great business in Dearborn Heights, let me open up a restaurant in Dearborn Heights. So this is something that encourages businesses, and it gives a different vibe for the city,
Council
and it's
Chair.
quick for a lot of people.
Council
In and
Chair,
out,
I
yes.
have nothing against the food
No, I'm not
truck,
saying them.
But even in other cities, the trucks don't stay parked in one location overnight. They actually go away, then come back. So we need to look at something like that, and that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's something that we look at, not to say that we're gonna do it, just look at it.
Okay.
Council Chair, I just want you guys to know, I think we've approved maybe 6 food trucks since we've started this temporary food license. I want you to know, in Dearborn Heights, currently, out of the 6 or 7, there's 2 still open. The one in the south end closed. The one on Ford Road and Beach Daily was that once at the BP closed. The one that was, there was another gentleman, I believe, that opened, there was 2 that opened up in the south end at a gas station. He also closed. You have 2 that are open. There's one on Ford Road and Beach Daily, it's a shawarma sandwich, and there's one on Hass and Telegraph.
I think there's more than 2, there's probably about 5 or 6.
No, guys. Yeah, no, we approved of 5 or 6. Maybe they got their trucks out. I don't know what's going on, but no, there is no more, guys, that are open anymore. The one across the street is considered Dearborn. It's not Dearborn Heights. Ford and Telegraph is the one that I named. Ford and Telegraph closed down.
Is it?
No, they're open.
I haven't seen their truck there in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, at night, they come at night.
Oh, okay, have they?
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
haven't
open.
seen theirs, so maybe, well, then that's the 3. Out of the, 6 or 7, half already, said, hey, this was cool, it was fun, it was a vibe. You're not seeing tons of food trucks everywhere. I mean, now maybe, moving it back and forth, but if you look at this place on Ford Road, on Hass and Telegraph, they got flowers, benches, nice, it looks like
It's a very
Detroit
nice place.
75.
Absolutely.
And so what I also don't want to do is, if, you can get a company like Detroit 75 in Dearborn Heights, that would be, it'd be amazing,
Absolutely.
you know?
And actually, even the what's it called, the hamburger truck, or what's it called? The
Burger
new
truck?
building? Burger truck.
He was a
They
burger
started
truck.
food
He started off a food truck in southwest Detroit. He's now a brick and mortar in Dearborn Heights, right next door to me.
I'm doing great.
And he's making a lot more money than I am, but.
Yeah.
Council Chair?
Wait, Councilman Constant was next. 1 second. But
Don't
Well,
raise your prices.
and I agree with all of you,
I
but
sell $3 ice cream.
there's 3 different things. So there's the food,
go ahead.
the food trucks that are at special events, like if they're at Canfield because they're having a baseball tournament, and then, as Councilman Musket pointed out, there's food trucks that are permanently there because the restaurant owners, let's say, for example, pulling next to you or across the street from an ice cream business is, some new fat ice cream that's out, gelato or something. So the ordinance has to be fine tuned. This is a new use. But there's different situations. So a 4th of July fireworks, a food truck comes and then they go, that's one thing. But a food truck sitting someplace that permanently, there's one in Dearborn that is always at a particular spot that sells lobster. I don't know if you know what I'm talking
He's
about.
actually not, he's mobile.
He's mobile, yeah.
He's mobile, he's not even stationary. He
Okay.
goes to Ann Arbor, he's out.
Are there
that's-
any other comments from council members?
No,
Council-
sir.
Ms. Breyer?
The one you mentioned, the burger-type truck, there are two of them parked at Gully, and I think it's Trowbridge. I passed them tonight. But it's on the Dearborn side, it's not Dearborn
Yeah,
Heights.
there's nothing to do.
We have to look at how they affect our existing businesses, that's all.
Any other comments?
Council Pro Tem, may I?
Yes.
I do love those trucks, but I do see your concern. I think we need to look at it just to make sure
Just
they
to
are
look, yeah.
complying with whatever the city, so they don't turn to an eyesore.
Yeah,
So I see
that's
what
it.
we.
I agree with you, I agree.
Council,
Any other
Council
comments?
Pro Tem?
Go ahead.
thank you. You know, I've said it before, and I've said it several times, you know, I like going to the food trucks. They're pretty cool. They, you know, a little bit pricey, rather, but the food is normally pretty good.
Everything's pricey.
And, but, you know, I've said it before, that the thing that gets me is, we have to work on this ordinance, because as Councilman Muscat said, these things are, most of the time, they're closed down. They're closed up, not closed down. They're closed up most of the day. You drive by them, it's just a closed-up trailer. And their business is normally from mid-afternoon on into the evening. And like I said before, they don't pay any property tax like a brick and mortar store does. And we should look into this, as the fees aren't that expensive for a food truck license. So we got to look at this. And I know Planning Commission had something this past week on the food trucks, and we got to work together with them, and we got to tweak this ordinance. You know, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay?
May
Go
I
ahead,
add something to the Councilman Wenzel? I know they don't pay taxes, but I think they do pay something to the place where they stay at. So they're helping that business to stay alive and to pay the taxes too as well. I mean, that's why I think, but, thank you, Council Chair.
And they're bringing residents into
Yeah.
our city, and a person that buys hypothetically a hamburger may also fill gas, and then they may also use other businesses in our city. I mean, we're not gonna have a full study session on food trucks, but right now, let's go back to this.
Well, Council Chair?
No more comments. We're gonna go back to voting on this
Well,
one.
Council Chair, like I said before too, a business is taxed by their square footage of sales area or their area. And if you have a gas station that's, you know, 1,000 square feet, they pay taxes on that. Now they have another business that's, you know, another 600 square feet. And when you have another business, you should have adequate parking spaces. And in reality, these are taking away parking spaces. And you have to add additional handicap spaces for another business in there. It's something that we have to look into. You know, it's something, it's just, we can't just be throwing it out there and,
No, definitely.
yeah.
No problem. Guys, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and, no more comments. We're gonna take this to a vote. So, motion made by Councilman Baydoun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried.
Motion to adjourn, Council Chair.
Not yet.
No, I have announcements.
I thought maybe it'll work.
Next item on the agenda is item 14A, comments from council members.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat?
A week ago, we had our study session on blight. And I know Corporation Counsel Farina made some good suggestions to me. And I believe some of you also here. And we need to move, we got to get moving. I mean, we really have to get moving on this, because we're slowly losing our city. And like I said, I don't want to get into the point where it becomes urban blight. Once we get to urban blight, it's like, takes forever. I mean, Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, Hamtramck, to mention a few. There's a few cities surrounding us that have some of this problem going on. I don't want to see Dearborn Heights join in that group. Plus, we're going to be talked to about someone about sycamore trees.
Yes.
And I think we need to start looking at a way to remove the sycamore trees from this city, all of them. And I know that's going to be expensive.
Start with you.
But they're nuisance. It's a nuisance tree. Might as well call it a weed tree as far as I'm concerned, because there's no room for this tree anywhere. put them out in the woods, let them do what they want to do out in the woods. But, again, that's what I'm thinking about the tree. And we have to look at our tree ordinance again. Because if someone wants to cut a tree down and they pay for it, I don't understand why they, if they just report it and show them the bill they had the tree cut down, I don't know why they have to have such an expensive permit fee. And then, on top of that, another $350 to plant a tree when I could go buy a tree at a nice nursery and have a nice tree that's an ornamental tree put in my house. Why do I need to pay all of that money for?
Ray, you better call my mother today because she's mad
She's got a maple tree.
about her tree.
Well, again, this is what I say, we got to start looking into this. I mean, I know a lot of people that are angry, okay? And it just doesn't make sense that we're fighting this, for years and years. Oh, it had a green leaf on it, we're not cutting it down. Well, you park your car under the tree. People are spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a car, and branches fall on it and dent them up, and the city goes, oh, I'm sorry, call your insurance company. That's just not being reasonable to me.
Okay.
And I just want to welcome our new police officers, and to be honest with you, as long as they went through a background check, I don't care how they got hired, and we got 3 new policemen, and everybody should be happy about it. Everybody complains that we're losing police officers. We get 3 of them. We got people coming up here complaining about it. And I think that's childish. Just like people are childish when they get on social media and say, we don't have a beer tent, or who changed the name of the Spear Fest, and we should have a vote to spend $80,000, $90,000 on an election to change a name of a festival. Really? I just don't understand people. They complain about one thing, you give it to them, and they keep complaining. So that's how I feel about the whole situation. And in I'm hoping Mr. Drapkowski comes up and talks about this community tree planting available here, because I just received this today, and I don't know if you're more familiar with it than I am, if you're going to come up. Okay. Did we all get a copy? Did we get this email from Vince Drapkowski?
I did.
I don't.
I don't.
I got it.
Can I give this to the county clerk, and she could?
County clerk?
Or city clerk?
You can go to the county clerk.
I got the county on my mind for some reason. But if we pass this along and they can scan it and send it to all the council people, is that possible? Or do you want me to do it? It's up to you. Okay, I'll give this to you.
Next up is Councilman Bedun.
Council Chair, just a few things here. I know I've spoken with our Director of Department of Public Works, and look, guys, say it all over again. It's the season, it's the spring, it's the summer, and we still have a large list of trees that have to be trimmed. They have to be taken down, and every time I call, it's the same thing. We'll add you to a list. We'll add you to a list. Well, I'm just gonna tell you that this past week, there was a whole rant on social media from a young gal who lives on Hass, and she said there are 4 big trees. They're constantly falling while people are walking. And she said, I've contacted the city for the last 3 or 4 years, and they keep telling me they're adding me to a list. She said, who do I need to speak to? I ended up reaching out to her. But the moral of the story of this is we're still hearing the same excuse about this list of trees. 300 trees, is it going to take us 3,000 years to cut these or trim these trees? What are we doing? How are we being proactive? That's my first thing. Bless you. Second thing that I have today, Director Lauren Sell did a phenomenal job on 2 events. Senior Jubilee, as always, and the Summer Festival. Hey, kudos to you. Great job. It's not easy to operate what you put together. Seeing these little things that you see on social media, these little push TikTok fights, brush those away. It was an amazing event. I took my son there. He had a blast. My wife was there. Great elephant ears. Some of the rides that I thought were for kids were a lot faster than I anticipated. Maybe I didn't remember, or I'm just getting old, but I could not get on the rides. And then last thing that I'm going to talk about is, and I think moving forward, I'm going to continue to request this, and I'm going to ask the same question moving forward, and maybe our corporation counsel can lean in on this, but moving forward, I don't want to just see ads for cadets or firefighters or something on social media. Anything we go out for bid, it's the 21st century, we must go on social media for everything. That means Facebook, that means Instagram, that means TikTok, that means Snapchat, I don't care what it is. But we need to, if we're gonna go out for bids for anything, it needs to be more than just BidNet. We cannot just stick on BidNet anymore. It's enough. Like, I have no idea half the things that we're bidding for. We don't know. I'd love to go out and tell people, hey, go out and bid on this on a community page. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's insane.
I agree.
But it's the 21st century. I'd like to see other things on social media that we're bidding for the community so that it can be an easier, accessible process. There should have been 100 people bidding on what we have for the city of Dearborn. It's a great community. I love this community, and we're going to make sure moving forward, at least for me, my vote's going to be no if it's only on BidNet. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to commend our Recreation Director, Kim Lawrencell. I was at the Summer Festival there, had a great time with my son-in-law, daughter, and granddaughter. I did have one complaint, and I don't know if I should do this publicly. When you closed, my granddaughter did not like it. She was very upset with you. I told her it wasn't me, it was you. But no, she had a great time. I had a great time. It was a very nice event, and I'll tell you, the way you put it on, I just got to tell you, great job. And I heard it was a record-breaking number of people that showed up. Is that correct? Yeah.
Every year. Right?
So, good job.
Unfortunately, we had a few people that, you know, I think their parents are very proud of them today, the way they acted. And unfortunately, they had to try to ruin it for everybody. And I'm hoping that the city really prosecutes these people to the fullest extent of the law for what they did at this festival. It's a shame. And it's a shame, and they need to be treated, they need to pay the price for acting like that. And the parents are, I'm sure, are proud of them for how they acted.
Council Chair.
Yes, Councilman?
Thank you, Council Chair. First, about the blight, Council Pro Tem, I did have a brief conversation with the Corp Council before the meeting, and I think we're going to set up a meeting pretty soon, which is you're going to be in it, like we just talked about it. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you. And I do agree, Council Chair, with Councilman Baidoon about BidNet. I think it needs to be advertised more. We need
I agree.
probably different platform or different kind of advertisement, especially on social media. Third, I also would like to welcome the new police officers to the city, and I was kind of pleased, to be honest with you, to see Dearborn Heights resident to be police officers in the city and, you know, taking the step to serve. I also would like to commend our director for an amazing summer fest. I was there too with my kids. I was looking at your social media. I guess you were having fun more than
Yeah,
your
I had a
granddaughter.
blast.
That was on slides.
Yeah. Finally, Council Chair, this Sunday is Father's Day, so I hope we can take the chance to acknowledge the role of our fathers, make sure we express love, gratitude to them, take them out. I mean, they play a big role in our life.
Say that out loud again. I want to go to a nice restaurant.
So I would like to wish everybody in the city, especially, a happy Father's Day this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say one last thing. I'm so sorry, brief, but, you know, when Councilman Ahmad speaks, it's so heartfelt, and you know, he's such a good man, and I just want him to know that. So happy Father's Day, bud.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
Happy Father's Day to everybody, but this guy's just such a good man, for real.
I'd also like to take this just quick opportunity to recognize one of our collegiate football athletes here. I know Mr. Swarple there. No, he's a
Wrestler. All-American.
The Detroit Lions are hiring, so if you'd like to look into it, I got their number if you'd like.
Do we want him to speak, David? Could
Yeah, I'm sorry? Yeah.
you don't want to
So-
tell us all of your stuff?
Is you next? No, yeah. Who's next?
Council Chair?
If he wants to get up, if he doesn't, he doesn't.
During the public comment.
Okay.
No, he's
Wait, if you
willing
don't
to
mind,
tell
just
us.
during the public comments, absolutely. For sure, thank you. You're definitely Lions size, so we're good. Go ahead, Tom.
If you're good, go to the Packers instead. They got Super Bowls. They got Super Bowls to their name.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. A lot more than just
Go ahead,
that.
Councilman.
Thank you, Council Chair. Couple of things is I also like to echo Councilman Ahmed, happy Father's Day to our fathers out there. And it's not an easy job. It's, you can be a dad, but to be a true father takes a lot of effort, and I'm sure most of us can speak to that, and it's something that we enjoy doing. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
I mean, it's not as big as Mother's Day, but we're getting there.
We gotta cook our own food.
Now it is, right?
We
In
work
June
harder.
it's big.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm sorry to mention this. This past Sunday, I was invited to a luncheon, Father's Day luncheon, for the first time ever. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Congratulations, Dad. When I went up there to speak and I couldn't share my time with anyone, I'd like the clerk or someone to look into that where it is in writing somewhere, or is it just a suggestion that you can't do it? Because we've done it in the past, and I remember talking about it, but I never seen a resolution on it, and I asked the clerk to look into it. And speaking about the clerk, there was an issue with the city purchasing some netting and for the golf course. And I brought this up, and I was chastised because I said, hey, Tom, you didn't read your packet. It's there in the contract. With the help of the clerk, I looked everywhere, and there's no mention of netting anywhere. The word netting never shows up anywhere in the contract or in any minutes from any contract. And the administration went to the treasurer's office and said that the city council approved netting for the golf course. And this is something I'm not going to overlook it. I'm not going to let it go. And this is, we can't do that. We can't have people coming in and just getting things they want, saying city council approved it. And I never approved it. I've never asked. Maybe I would have if I was asked. The Summer Fest went off relatively good from what I heard. Everybody enjoyed themselves. I had a couple of neighbors tell me that they did go there Saturday night and immediately left. And I was wondering, I was asked the police chief if they had, if they had any extra. I know there was something happened Friday night, a little altercation Friday night. And it's terrible that this has to happen. I mean, like Councilman Muscat said, these people come in, a good thing like that, and you can see all the videos on social media. It's terrible. Speaking of BidNet, we have a resident that visits BidNet quite a bit, and they found something out there on BidNet that the city is advertising for a water department management company. I'm not sure what that means. If the mayor, what does that mean, Mr. Mayor? Water department management? We're looking for a company to run the water department?
Did you read the whole thing?
I didn't realize. A resident asked me.
I got to talk to the comptroller and see what it entails.
Yeah. So it's
But I was going to make a comment, actually. If you guys have any questions, you guys need to call the office in advance, before the meeting, to find out certain things. We have access to the information, so when you come to the meeting, we don't have it here. And that's something that we keep talking about. Do you guys if you have anything, you can call 8 to 5 right here.
I'm
Get you
asking
the
now.
information that you need.
Well, I'm asking now, but I mean.
Well, it's 7:35, it's a council meeting. But if you come
Okay.
earlier, we could have given it to you, even 5 minutes before 5.
Well, this is something that to be transparent, it's something that we should be aware of, something
It
as
is
serious as this. I mean,
transparent.
I don't even know what it is. I mean, it could be something, minor, but it could be something that they're trying to, get a company to come in and take over the water department. But I know there's some issues with the crosswalk striping, and I don't know if you're going to talk about it, so I won't say anything else. And I know pretty soon it's going to be coming up the anniversary of Joey Smith's death, and so I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, everyone, all the fathers out there. Have a happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Councilman Constant?
Thank you, Council. Did you have something?
I'm waiting for announcements. You guys all said thank you to Kim already. It was excellent.
Two things. Number one, admiration and thanks, great thanks to our library director, Mike Cafferty. Libraries in the past had a lot of books and kids would study there. Now, their access to the internet and computers for people who are, whatever reason, don't have the internet at home, and they're looking for jobs or need to look something up, are seniors. So I saw on the agenda there was a couple hundred monitors, and as maybe our book collection is getting smaller, the access to the computers, it's just very important for the community. So thank you, Mike. And then I also thank you to the budget team, to our chief of staff, Mariana Hernandez, and to our comptroller and everyone else on getting the budget passed. I know it wasn't perfect and there's issues outstanding, but I think as a whole, I was glad to see the budget passed. Comment about trees. I remember Ruth Canfield, and this was when she was on the council years ago. She lived in the same neighborhood I do. She told me when her father was the township supervisor, it was a great thing. They, gave everybody a tree, put a tree on every tree lawn. And the problem is that those trees, especially the sycamore trees, they got big. So we're working on getting those trees trimmed. Thank you, Council Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman?
Are
go
we,
ahead.
are we on announcements yet?
No, not yet. Do you have any
Okay.
other? Okay. So let's go ahead and go to announcements next. Any announcements for the administration?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
All right, well, and I did miss one other thank you first. The little gardens we put by both libraries, the Pride Gardens, we didn't mention about that being done this past Saturday. And as far as announcements, 621 Ecorse Creek, 6 p.m., and 622, that would be a Wednesday. 622 Thursday, South Dearborn Heights Civic Association. Our Wayne County Commissioner Kniezek will be there at 7 p.m. These are both held at 3335 South Beach Daily. And just a heads up on the July meeting for anybody who's running for city council, all 9 members, we've decided to make our July meeting a meet and greet circumstance for those who can come in and meet them and know who they are and ask them questions. So I'm thinking, I've already talked to, I'm actually the past president, so the current one, I couldn't get hold of her today, but it's possible we'll have it Wednesday instead of Thursday so we don't mess up the entertainment that we've got going here in the city. So in July, we'll probably have it on that Wednesday, the 4th Wednesday of the month, a meet and greet with all 9 candidates running for city council. And then we will wait till about probably September to have the final 6. And then at that time, we will have someone to moderate and you can ask all the questions you want. So I just wanted to give you a heads up so that you will have an opportunity. Everybody's welcome, the entire city. Please come, 3335 South Beach Daily. Meet the people who want to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other administrative
Council
announcements? Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, a couple of things. First, I'd like for you guys actually to be prepared, when you come to the council meetings, if there's an issue with a business or a license, to call ahead instead of shaming businesses, or, we're trying to attract businesses to come to the city. So when somebody public shames business, it's not good, for the city. So if he has any questions before you come to the meeting, be prepared. Call the ordinance, call whoever, find out whatever you need to find out before the meeting. I think, we appreciate that. Also, we had a couple meetings last week and this week with the county. One of the biggest discussion is the Ecorse Creek was today. Last week, they were talking about, some of the stuff that the city needs, and we're applying for more projects with the county. They still have a little bit left from the ARPA money. But today we discussed a couple items, the CSO that they're managing. That's going to go in front of the council there's an amount that we owe from 2017. And also with the Ecorse Creek, we found out that the Army Corps of Engineers, I just want to put something to bed. We've been talking about that big projects, over 200-something million projects with the Army Corps of Engineers. They actually, that project is not going to go. It's actually over 300 million now. So I did meet with some Army Corps of Engineers in Chicago, just a few days ago. And that's some of the stuff we discussed is the Ecorse Creek and the Rouge River, the water erosion. And so what they are doing with the $10 million, they're going to go out for bid by the end of this year, the fall. But before they do that, we have a meeting with all the stakeholders, with all the communities that touch the Ecorse Creek the 30th of the month. And they're going to talk about what's required and there's going to be a lot of communications with the residents along the Ecorse Creek from all communities. And one of the biggest challenges that the county thinks is, a lot of times that they actually have to go into residents' properties to get into the creek to remove obstacles, whatever's in the creek. We found all kinds of crazy stuff in the creek, just in the Dearborn Heights side. So they are going to go out for bid the end of this year, and they're going to select a company to actually go through and do the work by next year. So they will actually get into the creek sometime next year, once they get all the bids in. And so they're expected to complete, everything by 2025, so the year after. So they should probably a year and a half or so with the cleanup. And what the plan is to, they will send a newsletter to all the residents around the creek to let them know the process or what's required. Again, they need cooperations from a lot of residents. They need to get into their backyard to see what's going on, so they can get into the creek to remove some of the stuff that is causing obstruction of the water flow. And we'll keep the residents in the loop, and we'll probably put it in the newsletter, once we have more information at the end of the month. And the county's going to send a newsletter as well, but we'll be sending some from the city of Dearborn Heights as well.
Council Chair,
Thank you very much, Mayor.
is that June 30th?
Yeah, it's going to be just mayors and the supervisors of the cities
Oh,
and the
okay.
county. 26th, I'm sorry.
June 26th? Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Council Chair?
Oh. So let's,
I would follow up on something that the mayor said. I know cleaning the creek up is nice, clean debris out of the creek, but we've done studies before, and cleaning the creek out doesn't solve any of the flooding issues. It's very, very minor concern compared to what the problems are. And the mayor said that because of the mass expense of the retention basin, that we're not going to move forward. Who's we? Who made the decision not to move forward with the detention basin?
Well, if you have $300 million,
Who's
can go
we?
with it.
Who's we?
Army Corps.
The Army Corps of Engineers, there's no.
The Army Corps of
they can't
Engineers
get the
decided not to move it forward?
There's no $300 million
Who's-
for the.
Who's we decided not to go ahead?
Army Corps of Engineers.
The Army Corps of Engineers
As
said,
told-
don't go ahead with this
As told to us
project.
by the county.
I'm saying, the Army Corps of Engineers said, don't go ahead with this project.
That's what they told the county, but that's where it stands. That's what they said.
Well, all these things at Ecorse Creek are just Band-Aids. And 20 years ago, this could have been done for like $70 million, and it was put off. And then 10 years ago, it was $110 million. And then 5 years ago, it was $200 million. And there's money out there. We've spent millions of dollars. We could have been showing, like I said before, showing the federal government that we are serious and would start some kind of clearing the property, saying, hey, listen, it might be $300 million, but we need help. Our residents, for 50 years, 60 years, thousands and thousands of residents have been suffering. And all we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on it by cleaning the log jams out of the creek. And when it rains, the logs come back into the creek and cause a jam again. That's not the problem. The problem is you got to take care of this water where it comes into Dearborn Heights. We have the ability to stop the flooding. This retention basin, it's proven by the Army Corps of Engineers, will stop the flooding in the south end. But we decided not to go ahead with this project.
No.
I don't think that's what was said. I think the county told us. Now, it doesn't close doors. We're not closing doors or giving up on that issue. But that's what the county told us, not the Army Corps of Engineers communicating with us directly. They communicated with the county. The county informed us.
And Council Chair?
yes, Council. I'm sorry, Mayor.
Okay. There's also another project that they're working on right now. So the $1.5 million that we received, well, we didn't receive, that the county received last year, that Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Debbie Dingell, when they were here. So they use that money to actually, they're designing a retention basin, and it's going to be at the same location. And again, they should have the design, next year they should have the design already complete. They can't do the massive projects for 300 million, but they are looking at another project, which is about $25 million. And again, they're doing a design work. They're not studying. They're doing a design and to see where they can put it. And obviously, it's going to be off of Power Street, the same location where they were going to do the massive project. But this is, again, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I'll keep the council and the residents involved as we get more data.
Okay. Director, come on up.
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just wanted to announce the kickoff of our summer activity program themed this year, All Together Now. Saturday, June 24th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Carrollton County Library. We will be having an old school fun summer cookout. It's going to include an inflatable obstacle course, grilled halal and veggie food, kids book sale, a three-legged race, a dunk tank, cotton candy, and much more. So come on out. Also, June 19th will be start. I'm sorry?
What was the date again?
June 24th, from 1 to 4 at Carrollton County Library.
Hold on once.
No, that's the summer.
Oh, we don't know who's in the dunk tank yet. I'm going to be one of them. I'm sorry?
That's the same.
Yep.
What time from 1 to?
1 to 4. Yep,
That's a week from this Saturday.
that's correct.
You usually remind us on email, too.
Okay.
I get some of your.
Oh, you do?
info.
Okay,
Oh,
all
yeah,
right, okay, all right. Also, June 19th will be the start of our summer activity boxes on our website. Residents can sign up for boxes delivered to their homes, filled with activities and crafts. So, that's all. Thanks for your time, and see you all at the library. Thank you.
Anyone next in our clerk? Not our Wayne County clerk. but
No,
our
not the Wayne
Dearborn
County
Heights
Clerk. I'll leave that to Kathy Garrett. Good evening. I'm here talking as your clerk, and I wanted to let you know that we're all having an election on August 8th. And in today's mail, when I got home, I received my permanent absentee ballot application. So I just wanted everybody to know that and let you know the different avenues on how you can turn them in, okay? There is a slight change to it this year because, as you know, you all voted on Proposition 2 last November, which were a lot of changes to the voting. And one of them was for you'd receive a ballot every time. So where it used to be, you were signing up for the application list, you are going to be, if you want to be on the list, a permanent ballot. So you automatically get a ballot every time. Unfortunately, we're still waiting on a lot of direction from the state. Deputy Clerk Flamont and I are currently in the Michigan Municipal Clerks Association conference this week down in Detroit. This morning, we spent the whole morning discussing this, and there's a lot of questions that we're waiting on from the state. So you can return your absentee ballot application. You can go to michigan.gov/vote and apply online. It'll take you right there. The League of Women Voters will be having, I believe they reached out to the candidates, and the candidates may have supplied information. That will be out shortly. Their website is vote411.org. So, and the bulk mailing for the absentee ballots is June 29th. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, thank you.
Hello, everyone. You had mentioned the festival earlier. I did have a lot of people that I wanted to thank for that. I do know that we had a few glitches this year, but I will be working with the chief on hopefully coming up with some avenues that we can make that not happen next year. So that's what we're working on. And also, just so everyone knows, the reason that there wasn't any alcohol was because we had a problem with the vendors and the change in the licensing law that there is in as far as getting your license. So I will have that rectified for next time. Just so you know, Wednesday night was a record high night for sales for the Carnival Company. Thursday was too, Friday and Saturday.
Saturday came in second place to my last year's Saturday, so it was really busy that whole week, and then we got to Sunday. Sunday, we got drenched, but we had a great jam session under the tent. We just, it was amazing. A lot of the different artists that played during the day, they got up and they played a different song, or they played songs from a different artist. So we had all kinds of songs going on under the tent. I would like to thank Antonio's, the Building and Maintenance Department, DPW, definitely Chief Hart and the police officers, Chief Brogan and the firemen that worked. We had a lot of volunteers that helped out with the Jubilee. I definitely want to mention them. All of my sponsors that helped out, council people that sponsored things. We had sponsors from the whole community. I think that we did a record amount that we received from sponsorships this year. We redid the way that we asked for sponsors, and we were able to get a lot more from
100
that.
extra
So,
ice creams.
yes, Mo donated the ice cream for the Jubilee, and the seniors loved that. So, but definitely last but not least was my staff, who actually put up with me for the last few months, and I definitely could not have done this festival by myself. So I want everybody to know that there was a lot of people involved in this. It wasn't just me, and kudos goes to them, because I could not have done it by myself. It's a great undertaking.
I just want to add something there for you, you know, and I want to just speak to you. A true leader leads with those under them and says and recognizes them. So thank you for showing that leadership role.
Well, I couldn't do it without them, and I would definitely recognize them, as I have every year. Getting forward, Nancy mentioned she didn't want to interfere with Dearborn Heights Entertainment. On June 22nd, we've got the Magic Bus coming. We originally were scheduled for Warren Valley Golf Course. We've moved it to the Canfield Center area because they don't know when they're going to be doing the parking lots. We have a lot of activities for the families, kids, and that's at 1801 North Beach Daily. It's a free activity, and that's the first of our 3 summer concert series. In July, we've got the Detour Band, which is a Detroit area band that does a lot of Motown. And then in August, we have the Reflections, and we're actually part of the Reflections Farewell Tour, which is huge. And I know most of you young people don't know who the Reflections are, but
I remember.
you will recognize their music when they play if you come to the concert. Trust me.
We should have like a Backstreet Boys or something.
Too expensive. That'd eat up my whole budget. But I wouldn't mind that either.
Justin Bieber, something. Michael Jackson.
Hey, when those guys make
Taylor
as much
Swift.
money as Frank
All right.
Sinatra, come and see.
So any other administration comments or
2 other people.
announcements? Hearing none, we're going to go ahead and go to public comments next. Whoever wants to come up to speak on public. Yeah. Each person will have 3 minutes. Please state your name, city, and street.
Hi, Jake Swirple, like the council mentioned earlier. I live in Dearborn Heights resident. I live on Kinmore. I'm Sergeant Matthew Swirple's son. He's retired. He's retired now. I go to Minot State in North Dakota. I'm double majoring in criminal justice and psychology, and I'm doing a minor in law and legal studies. And I also play football and I wrestle. And I'm an All-American wrestler and a Scholar All-American as well.
Wow.
Thank you. Good job. Very good job.
Muggsy, my buddy's a good friend of his. Muggsy loves him. Good wrestler.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you coach? Yeah, you coached my son at one point too, didn't you? Was your okay, brother? Okay. He's also a little guy, right?
What year did you graduate from Crestwood? What year did you graduate high school?
2020.
Wow, 2020.
All right, next up,
Good evening.
city, street name. I'm sorry, Mr. Bazzi contacted me and asked for an extra minute, so he'll have 4 minutes.
I'm going to take a minute on my watch, then I'll start the time.
No problem. I'm going to say a written statement, so it's going to take about 4 minutes, maybe a couple seconds. So if you
That's
don't mind, please. Let
Okay,
me know.
go ahead.
I'm just a little bit I lost a cousin today for cancer, so I was
to hear
supposed to
that.
speak on
My
her
condolences.
funeral. I'd like to come here first and
One
just
second,
little
let's
bit
take a moment
emotional.
of silence for your
Thank
cousin,
you.
just in case.
Thank you.
Allah.
Thank you. Hassan Bazzi, Sheehan Drive, Dearborn Heights. Thanks for the time that you granted me, Mr. Abdullah. Mr. Bill Bazzi, the mayor, Mr. Dave Abdullah, president of the council, distinguished members of council, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you this evening as a proud resident of this beautiful, vibrant city to share with you some thoughts and impressions about a recent matter that raises legitimate questions about the function of an important part of our local government. In the interest of time, I'm going to get to the point right away. Last Thursday, June 8th, I had the misfortune of attending the meeting of the Planning Commission where I had to witness the most disorganized, short-sighted, dictatorial proceeding of any kind. Some of you were there, and without the need to embarrass any of you, they can bear witness to the accuracy of my account. I attended the meeting out of concern for a good business opportunity in our community, where a local businessman who is proven and well respected in the city has an investment proposal that will bring some needed employment and public revenue. It was the second appearance for the gentleman and his associate who petitioned the committee for a permit to occupy an empty lot, but were dismissed in a questionable way. Occupy and questionable way for the first time. This second time was not a charm either. We found out that they submitted the documents that the committee had asked for, did not make it through to be considered. And that was used as justification to dismiss the application again. And so matter were blunt, and the chair did not allow the applicants who had their legal team in attendance to present their case. I am not a lawyer to speak of the legality of the chair's decision, but as a concerned resident who's somewhat involved in our issues, I question the legality of the commission, which the majority of its members were appointed by the mayor, but did not have the consent of your esteemed council. To my knowledge, Section 23-29 of the city charter states the following starts. The City Planning Commission shall consist of 9 members who will be appointed by the mayor, subject to the approval by a majority vote of the City Council, who shall represent, insofar as possible, different professions or occupations. The appointed members shall hold no other municipal office except that one of such appointed members may be a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Ends. As far as I know, no such approval was granted by council. Thus, all the decisions of the commission are not legitimate. Ladies and gentlemen, the alphabet of public responsibility dictates that we should put the public interest first, and that requires a broad vision and fair treatment and professional conduct. And I am sorry to tell that the commission, in its present composition, lacks the very basic of those elements and lacks diversity. And it's easy to see a lot of nepotism, favoritism, patronage, and preferential treatment, not only in selecting the members, but also in the way they conduct business. Please allow me to share a little piece of history of Arab Americans in the area. Not a lot of people know how a racist mayor in our sister city, Dearborn, weaponized the zoning committee there against Arab Americans in the South End. But he was sued and lost, as a proof that even strong men can lose in a nation of laws. And we are a nation of laws, and thank God we do have elections where we are not jerked around by some rookie novice who is thirsty for power and undeserved recognition. Thank you, I appreciate it, and thanks for not calling the cops on us.
Thank you. Any other, come on up. I apologize, sir, I usually have ladies go first. So you can have a seat right there, sir, and she will go first.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Is that okay, Nadia? Come on up, sir. No, you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
My name's Terry Bixler. I live in Plymouth, Michigan, at Glenview Drive. I'm the real estate broker for the project that was referred to by Mr. Bowsy. And I also have served on the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals in my city, and I appreciate the effort that the volunteers put forth in serving their communities. But what I've witnessed at the last 2 Planning Commission's meetings dealing with Mr. Baydoun's property was shocking. And let me just give you a brief example of what happened this last meeting. As our project was being introduced, the procedures were stopped. An administrator sitting here reminded the commissioners that because it was a project that was denied at the last meeting, that a year would have to go by before they could be reapplied, except in the case that the municipality would grant a meeting if they could prove that significant changes had been made to the previous plan. And a vote would have to be taken by the board, by the commission, in order to determine whether significant changes had been made. Well, what happened is there was a quick comment by one of the commissioner, or by one of the commission members, planning commission members, and I won't name his name, but he made a quick statement that he did not have a complete package, that the traffic study that was required was not in the package. The people that I was with that represented Mr. Baydoun was tried to interject and say, well, we submitted that back in the beginning of May. There's confirmation with emails. And what happened in a nutshell is this gentleman led a vote without any further discussion, even though we were trying to have a discussion. And there was a vote taken to say that they would not proceed forward because they had an incomplete package. We tried to determine what was incomplete. The only thing that was incomplete that they told us was a traffic study that had been submitted in May, early May, to the city, but somehow didn't make it in any of the commissioners' packages. We tried to get them to slow down, even though they took the vote, which technically just shut down any further conversation. We were able to get the floor for a few minutes and ask questions as to procedure, and I'll just give one example of procedure that I think is pertinent. We asked them, would you at least look at the information in the package for the materials that had been submitted to see if you could ascertain without the traffic study that serious and extensive changes had been made to the plan that would allow them to then hear more conversation that evening, and they flat out denied that possibility of happening, which to me, the state of mind for somebody to do that when people have flown in from around the country to support a project in your community, they wouldn't even do a common courtesy to at least look at the package to see if there was enough information to determine if a significant change had been made. And there was a completely new site plan, completely new. Just that in and of itself would have qualified. Okay. I know I've taken my turn. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. One up.
Is there anybody else that wants to talk about this issue before I go? Okay. Oh, I don't know anything about her, I would. I just saw about it, I saw I didn't like. But anyway, good evening. My name is Nadia, and I live on Kingswood Drive. I'm here to address an issue that I'm pleading with everyone on the council to maybe look into, the situation at John Daly and Ford Road. We have an issue with the entry into Starbucks. Somebody's going to get killed at that corner. I had to sit through 5 lights the other day. I called the police department, non-emergency. Unfortunately, they said that somebody was out there and that somebody would handle it. What's happening is they're turning into Starbucks off of Ford Road or off of East and West, and they're sticking out onto Ford Road as the light's turning. So if you're turning, you're in a death trap. It's coming right at you. You're going to have to make a decision here. You're either going to have to close that first drive and they're coming out illegally. Somebody's going to get killed at that point. And I've talked to a couple of council people before, and it's gotten to the point that it's crazy. I beg my children not to even turn at that corner, okay? And I live in that subdivision. There's no reason for me to have to avoid coming into my own subdivision, okay? So something really needs to be done, and I say enough is enough before somebody really gets hurt, okay?
Ms. Berry, Nadia? Nadia?
Yes.
I too live in that subdivision.
I know you do.
And I don't go down John Daly there. I avoided like the plague.
So do I.
And then new traffic light on Ford Road and Gully.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you
Well,
please put a
it-
traffic light going at the Starbucks? and
Well,
out?
the crazy thing is there's, the light is there, but I think we gotta start putting signs up even down.
The signs are not working.
Further, well, nobody reads signs.
Right.
And I was gonna say that, but no standing or parking along Ford Road or John Daly at that point. I don't know what else to do.
I'll tell you what to do. Close off that first driveway
Well, when
before somebody gets hurt.
When I first went to the planning commission meetings, and I'm going to say this, I went to those planning commission meetings. That drive-through was supposed to be on the other side of the building, and they were
Well-
supposed to use the southernmost entrance to exit. And that got changed, and I don't know how that got changed.
Well, then it needs to be
All I'm
looked at
gonna say
because
about
I'm
it.
telling you, we've had a
Okay.
couple of accidents there, major accidents, but when
And
somebody
people
gets
give you the
killed.
finger when they're turning, and it's just amazing.
I mean, there's
So
no
just
reason
don't
for
go there no
anybody to
more.
have to sit at a traffic light for 5 lights
Yeah.
to get into your own
I have to
subdivision.
go across the street to go into the shopping mall.
Yeah,
I
so
agree
somebody-
with Mrs. Berry on this. Are we waiting for somebody to die?
Somebody,
You know?
you've had 2 major accidents that I know of.
You know,
Thank God I was out of town when
We're
these
gonna
things
come here,
happened,
it's
but
gonna be the
somebody's
same
gonna
song
get
and
hurt.
dance.
I think somebody was actually killed there a couple of years ago, to be
No,
honest
it was
with
a
No,
severe
that was-
accident.
That's about 40 yards down.
you. Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. Appreciate it. Come on up, city street name, please.
Hi, everybody. Sue Kaminsky, Amboy, Dearborn Heights. Just a few things. I'm thrilled about the 3 new officers. I have been very vocal about not having enough officers. We're still 31 down. That's my count. I may be wrong, but 34 minus 3, I think we're 31 down. So I hope this trend continues. I want to see us surpass where we were because our population has increased, so we need to keep going. My other question is, I saw the cement companies still doing some work on the streets. Is it the same cement company? Is someone watching them? Because I've not seen any gravel near where they were working. I happened to be in Trenton today. They're doing some work in my son's subdivision, and they had huge piles of pea gravel. And I haven't seen the same kinds of problems as the pea gravel kind of caused because it was blocking the street. But regardless, you need to put the pea gravel down first, and I'm certainly not a civil engineer. So I wondered if it's the same company, if somebody's supervising them, where are we at with that?
It is the same company. Administration could probably speak better than me on that. I've personally seen firsthand where there was a supervisor on behalf of the city standing over them while they were doing work.
Okay.
And if you're not an engineer, I'm even below that.
Yeah, I'm not close.
It looked right, but I'm not the end all be all. I had to ask one of the city administrators who was overseeing the project, and he said, yes, what is being done is done correctly. And I spoke with the supervisor over there. Again, I'm not the end all. I just want to just get my own peace of mind. It seemed to be going the right direction, and they did say the supervisor, Mr. Jamal from the city, did say that he's checked all the different spots that they have done. So he did. Hassan Jamal.
So here, Jamal.
Go ahead, Jamal.
Okay, I just, I want to be fiscally responsible and make sure the city's not spending extra money on tearing streets up and putting it back in.
And there's an additional item I should answer you. I called and spoke with the director of the building department, Ruth Watland, had a long conversation with him about it. And without getting into the details, because I don't want to be the one to announce these, it's administrations, but there is some on the radar that's going to be announced, I don't know when, but pretty soon, in regards to this, in regards to checking all the different spots. So it is on at least 2 directors' radars.
Okay.
I did see them out compacting today on the way here on Midway. I would think they would have used a larger compactor, but they were out there compacting the soil.
Was there pea gravel?
Yes, there was,
Okay, good.
there was the aggregate was put down,
Good.
and they were compacting it. Again, that's here nor there, and I'm gonna leave that into Mr. Waitland and Ollie Deeb's hands, and I've been in contact with them over this a few different times, so we are looking into it and being diligent, and I've been going out myself, and matter of fact, people have seen me with my tape measure out there measuring the depth of going around and, without having a laser, it's kind of hard, but, or a straight edge to
Right.
measure from.
No, I get it.
But I'm measuring to see if we're getting our 7 inches of concrete,
Right.
because.
And I did address with the supervisor. He was making kind of a complaint about one resident that had originally brought this to our council and brought it to our attention. And he mentioned, about taking photographs and following around, whatever, and I gave him the answer that I always give people. If you've got nothing to worry about, you're welcome to come in.
That's right.
Any resident can come in and take as many pictures as they want. That's their right. They're paying the fees. If you're doing something wrong, then you got a problem with it. If you're not doing anything wrong, then at that point, you shouldn't worry about it.
Right.
So,
And just
I'm
to-
okay with residents
And I
checking, but
agree.
not interfering.
I agree. I just want all of you to know, while I don't always agree with all of your thought processes, no names, Ray.
That's okay.
But I just want to thank you for what you do. As someone who served the public, I understand how hard it is. I know sometimes it seems to me like Mr. Wenzel gets discounted. So as somebody who lived in the South Side, I was at this body, none of you were here, Bob might have been here, in 1977,
Yeah, Bob was
about the
definitely
flooding on the South Side. So unless you've lived it, unless you've experienced, you've all had your basement flood maybe once or twice, unless this is how your lives are dictated, you don't get it. I lived on Annapolis. I moved out of the South Side because I was there and stuck in my house for 6 days with water up to my porch between Merrick and Polk. And somebody down the street had a heart attack, and you can check records, and the Dearborn Heights Fire Department used a blow-up boat to get this man out of a home. It's ridiculous. And nobody in this city should live that way. So I don't want you to discount when people are talking about the severity of Ecorse Creek. If you haven't lived it, you don't get it. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue.
City street name, please.
I've been waiting all day to know what's in that box.
Can I
All
dump
day.
it on your desk?
You can.
Uh-oh, you don't want, take that back, Mo. Mo, take it back.
No, bring it.
Angela Venegas, Dwight Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. That's for council and for our corporate council. That's just an information packet on sycamore trees, their lifespan, how dirty they are, the damage they do to sewage systems, everything. In my little box here before I came, this is just my driveway from overnight from sycamore trees. If any of you have a sycamore tree, this is a daily cleaning. I spend hours every day cleaning my house. I don't want it filthy, dirty. I have a dog. The sycamore trees have these little seed pods, and they're like needles.
Can you pass it around?
Yeah. The leaves fall.
I'm allergic to that stuff. Keep
Yep,
it away
leaves
from me.
fall all year long, summer, winter. They peel bark. They're dirty. They're disgusting. You can't park here. I can't park my tree, even in the bottom part of my driveway. When I have company, everybody fights on where we're going to park. Everybody's up the driveway to the garage. You can't park in the street. Your cars get damaged. My brother had a vehicle that was 2 days old, parked in my driveway, and had a dent in his hood. They're disgusting, dangerous. And for this list that supposedly exists in the city, I've lived in my house for 23 years. Twice I've had to replace my sidewalk because of the city tree. I paid $800 to trim the tree away from my house. I've almost have $3,000 invested in a tree that's not mine to try to keep my property looking decent. I was going to pay to have the tree cut this summer. I went to get my permit, and they told me I needed another $350 to put into a tree fund. It's a win-win for the city, and us residents are suffering. It's a bad situation, and I just wish somebody would do something.
Don't forget the dog stepping on
Yeah.
the needles,
Oh, yeah,
because my dogs had them
I had
too.
taken to the vet, almost on my way to the emergency vet. He's limping, and he has the needles from the seed pods embedded up in his paws. It's dangerous. The kids you can't even walk barefoot. You don't enjoy your yard. I can't sit out on my patio. My deck is littered with it.
we had all this rain Sunday. I was out at 7 o'clock at night because my husband's working on a ladder, cleaning out my gutters because it's all impacted with the seeds.
I got a
You guys-
question.
Council Chair?
Just real quick. Mayor,
Councilwoman
maybe
Bidun first.
can we get somebody from DPW just to take this tree down?
Mo, I appreciate that. There's 7 in 5 houses. We have 7 of them.
Okay, can we get these 7 trees taken down?
They're huge. I have sent I sent you videos. The branches fall like crazy.
I've taken the time to look at those trees that she has. I've looked at the danger to the telephone wires from some other
No,
trees.
these are the sycamore trees up in front.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
and the ground and the sidewalk that they've destroyed. But there's other issues as well that we're gonna try to collate and put together to deal with. The trees in the front of your yard, but also the wires and other trees in the city that have the same problem.
So guys, so Corporation Council, can you tell us, what do you think potentially the solution here is? I mean, this lady comes here, I mean, every week and complains about a sycamore tree. I don't even know what a sycamore tree is. I feel like I become a tree specialist.
And when I went to the DPW department, he didn't even know that they had the balls on it. It was news to him. He never even knew about the balls that fly everywhere.
Who's that?
Director Conrad. He had no idea that they even had the little steam on. He had no
Council
idea.
Chair?
I
Maybe
mean,
start with the mayor.
As I
start
said,
with-
I've gone to the
it's like a
location.
snowstorm.
I've gone to the location personally, look at the tree, and look at the sidewalk. I've walked to the back of the yard. and
Yep.
I've seen the danger
He
to
has.
the telephone wires. We're working on contacting Corp Counsel for DTE, and we will talk with Mr. Conrad so we can get a full plan for the issue.
So we,
But out
there you
of
go.
We are working on
I
it.
looked at
The
the-
administration is
He
working.
knows.
Let you know.
Yeah, was it 2 years ago or so?
About 3 years ago,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it was like that.
Look, I
Yeah.
can tell you something.
Council Chair.
Corporation Council went out to your house. I respect that, honest to God. The fact
No,
that
I
you
mean,
came.
Dave's been out there.
I mean, I've
Ray's
seen
been
you,
out
I've seen
there.
you walking. I've never been there.
Got a nice house, man.
My house is immaculate, and it kills me every day that after I get off of work, it's starting at 4 in the morning,
Couple
that
of
I gotta
realtors
spend
in
2
here.
to 3 hours cleaning up my house. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Council
And they're
Chair?
dangerous. My mailman wears a hard hat when he walks.
These are the seats here. I did maintenance at the St. Sebastian Church on the south end, and they've got dozens of these trees on their property. And they're not just balls, they come apart.
Yeah.
And they
just
clog
fly
up the
everywhere.
sewers.
What's it doing to our
And-
health,
and
too,
this-
breathing that?
This leaf right here she brought, this is hilarious because
It's a
the
new leaf.
leaves on those trees get to be this big. And when they fall in the fall, they are, they get in one leaf will cover almost a whole sewer in a rainstorm. Those leaves are huge.
Well, that's another issue.
Yeah,
I
and-
have the storm drain in front of my house
Yeah.
that I have to keep clean, and the one across the street because they don't do it.
And one thing she failed to mention about is they shed their bark.
Yep.
The
That's
bark,
next.
year round, the bark just falls off these trees, literally all year, every day, all year long. They're terrible trees.
I don't pay attention.
Other than that, they're fine.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And the Spirit Fest, Summerfest, I wasn't there, but I heard about the trouble. And I just think that our police chief should have stayed here. I'm sure a lot of residents have questions. I'd like to know what's being done to the kids who created all the trouble.
He is still here. I did speak with him. He's working on something in the back, but he is still in the building.
Yeah, I said somebody should be here then to represent him, to give residents information on what happened, who was arrested, what's going to be done, because we don't need this next year. You know, transparency. We just should be informed of stuff, so.
Okay.
right,
The-
thanks.
The only thing is, I'm going to comment on that, and it's not back and forth, but let's also keep things in perspective. You know, a fight at a carnival, not okay, but not that uncommon. I mean, at one point, I'm old now, but I at one point was young, and when you go to festivals, carnivals, every once in a while, you'll see a stupid teenage fight break out. It does happen. It's not good. I'm against it. No, I'm not going to go back and forth, just to be fair, but it does happen.
He was 6 foot tall at one
Yeah,
time.
no, no.
Somebody went like this to him at a festival.
He was the guy getting beat up at the
I
festival.
was the one getting beat up, and that's why I look like this.
So he wasn't a lover, huh?
All right, I'm gonna have Vince come on up.
Real quick. Vince
Yeah, you'll be
Stromkowski,
next.
Columbia Street. Earlier today, I got an email, like I do all the time, from the Department of Natural Resources regarding tree programs. That program is in cooperation with DTE for funding for trees for city parks, landscaping, city parks, and walkways or bikeways.
Also, I want to bring up, why doesn't somebody contact Michigan State Forestry and see if they have any grant funding or companies available that will come out here and take out these trees for little to no cost? Michigan State University can come out here, give you the idea, give you solutions, just call them. All right? And also regarding our grant for the gas company or whatever, maybe call those companies up and find out why they didn't bid on those, because there's been several bids that I've been involved in. And if you don't get a response, obviously there's something wrong with the way the package is written. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vince.
Council Chair, I just got one quick question, and maybe it's for Corporation Council to somebody, but let's spend, we have a pretty large budget. Why don't we spend $100,000, knock out all these trees? I mean, if it's gonna cost you $5,000 a tree, and there's 7 on Hess, 2 in front of the mayor, I mean, knock them out.
Well, just say 100,000 won't do it, because each tree, even if you get the cheapest contractor, and I've had estimates done.
She just said $3,500.
Multiplied by a lot, it'd be over $1 million.
Okay, spend $100,000, at least you
Well, I
have
think
a
it's
lot
something,
less.
listen, there's no doubt in my mind, 2 things that need to be looked at in the next budget. One is trees, and then the other one's roads.
Our tree ordinance needs to be
Trees,
looked at.
You guys.
Okay, let's let the lady, go ahead.
As you guys know, I'm Margaret King. I've been here, Dearborn Heights, Mayfair Street. I'm a friend of the family of Joey Smith that he lost his life on October 14th, 2022.
Condolences again.
I have several pictures. I made a poster board to get it in everybody's face and how important this is, that it needs to be done. I can pass it around afterwards, but this is the corner that Joey lost his life. This is where you're supposed to stop. There's no crosswalk, white lines at all. Here is Eaton, the corner that I used to work. You can't see the paint. This is ridiculous. This is what one of the reasons we've been asking is to help with the stop signs, so you can see them at night. You can clearly see that it is visible, more visible with that on there. Here's another intersection, no school signs. School zones will save children's lives if they are safe. Ours are not. I had filled out a form with a few questions that I had asked. I have not heard anything back. There's a few things that was said at the last city council meeting on May 23rd. I want to get more information and ask a few more questions. I have been told since I have been trying to get this situation to become a solution regarding the safety around our schools. Question 1, what does it mean when said it has been in the works? Question number 2, has it been started? And question 3, can we receive updates? Councilman Hassan said at the last city council meeting on May 23rd that he wanted some type of cable television show to update us residents to see what is the new businesses going on and that the city council is doing for the city. My personal opinion, not businesses, but I would love to see the city council, things that our city council does for our city and the community, such as protecting our children around our schools, especially after a young child lost his life.
Can we take a 10-second?
I'm sorry.
15 seconds, okay, 15-second moment of silence, please. God rest his soul.
Lost his life 8 months ago, well, 8 months as of tomorrow, and we still see nothing about it has been done. The time with the, about exceptions of Tom Wenzel's Jamie's 5 kids. Thank you again, Tom. He's the one that put this up at Joey's site. Jamie's 5 kids did. These simple changes that the family and friends of our beloved Joey has been asking the city to get done in a timely manner after we lost Joey on October 4th, 2022. And we sit here 8 months, a day shy of 8 months, with nothing done. Well, it is something that I hope and pray that each and every one of you up there sitting
never endures this pain and tragedy. We want changes, and we want them now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna ask a question, I'm gonna ask a question to maybe mayor administration, maybe corporate, chief of staff. Can we maybe allocate some ARPA money towards this? Because I'm gonna tell you honestly, it is taking a while to have had changes done. If not ARPA money, can we allocate some DPW workers to go out and do this? If not that, can we get some paint and paint the damn things? I mean, something's gotta be done. I do agree this thing's just dragging out. So can we put that as a top radar item?
Chief of Staff, I will tell you, I know this was brought up, and God rest her soul, Joey Smith, but it's been, even before Joey Smith, I know there were residents that were complaining, and the argument was the roads are too cold. Well, the temperature is hot enough right now. Why aren't we painting crosswalks? Get DPW to go out there and just paint them. It's all it's gonna take. I mean, do we not have the capability of doing so?
And I'm okay with subcontracting it out. That's what we have to do. Let's do what we need to do.
But no jokes, something as early as tomorrow needs to have these, across all the schools, by the way. Not just one or two or three, just to set us up. Guys, hang on one second, please.
Council Chair?
Every single school across the city, even if it's neighboring, this is part of Dearborn, who cares? Hit it up. Just touch it up. I mean, it's enough.
We also
I agree. Councilman Wenzel is next. I'm sorry. Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Thank you, Council Chair. I know the young lady had 3 questions, and the first one was, she said that she's heard there's something in the works. Can we answer her question? What is in the works, and how far along is it?
I'm just going to say, in all due respect, and, my heart, having 8 kids of my own, my heart goes out to what happened. I know, on information and belief, there is a lawsuit pending. So I would just ask us to refrain from discussing that. But I thought we started a safety meetings, and I don't know if we followed up with it. I haven't heard anything else from the first 2 meetings, but I know it happened at the Justice Center. I think we should continue those meetings, get people back together, keep it away from the lawsuit, but deal with the issues that are legitimately being raised.
It was Chief
What's in the
Hart, it was
works?
Chief Hart and Director Ollie Deeb that were working on it.
What's in the works?
We need to just, to follow what the councilman is saying, I think we need to make sure it's restarted and progressing.
Well, I don't even
What's in the
think,
works?
well, hang on for a second.
Councilman Wenzel still had the podium. Go ahead.
The young lady wanted to know, she had a question, 3 questions, and the first one is, what's in the works that we've been hearing? What's in the works and how far along is it? Who's the
Like I mentioned, Councilman Wenzel, the 2 that are working on this, the ones that are directing it is Director Ollie Deeb, who's on vacation today. As far as I know, he's not back. Yeah. And Chief Hart is the other person that was
Is our
working on it.
DPW director on here?
Is it a secret project going on?
No, it just so
Top secret?
happens, no, I mean, but to be fair, it was not anticipated this was going to be brought up, so they're not here to be able to answer the question.
Okay,
We could, Council Chair, just.
one second.
This is something that should be known, and it's only been a year.
Okay, can we do this? Can we do this?
Study
Madam
session?
Clerk, I know it's a little bit early, and I'm supposed to call you with this maybe tomorrow, but can you put a note that on the next agenda items for the next city council meeting to have the 2 the police chief and Director Ollie Deeb to give us an update as to the school zone restriping, repainting, whatever different agenda items. that they
Crossing
had.
guards?
Well, whatever stuff, we're not going to be commenting on the specifics. They're handling that themselves. If you could add that on the agenda, please. Councilman,
Just
what's
one
that?
last thing.
Councilman Bidun and Councilman Muscat.
One last thing, and Mariana, I'm so sorry that, I don't mean to, I know you're busy, but can you keep us an update with tomorrow with the DPW director, if they're gonna go out and actually paint these things tomorrow? And if they can't, how can we go out to subcontract these? Because I can tell you right now, I can name you 10 people that will come out and paint them even at no cost. So please, can you give us an updated email on that tomorrow? For every single school, Kenlock, Highview, Polk, Annapolis, every single one of them. Please.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Councilman
Or you
Muscat.
can't? No, but can you give me an update on when, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be done tomorrow. I mean, it can be done in a
Linus.
week.
Okay. Mr. Abdulhaq, please, not from the audience. Guys, okay.
Come on,
Mr.
yeah.
Councilman Muscat is next. Go ahead.
Council Chair, thank you.
Thank you.
A while back, when we first started this also, I made a suggestion that we put up signs that fines doubled. There is no going in front of the magistrate, say, I've never done it, I got a clean record. You see the school. I mean, the school is as visible can be. And if you decide you're doing 40 miles an hour, and you know what a lot of the problem is some of the people that actually are picking up their kids are the ones that are. Yeah, but what I'm saying is some of the people that are picking up their own kids, they even load their kids up on the street side of the car, and it's not even on the driver's side of the car. Why would you take a small child and go out into the street and try to load them like that when everybody's going back and forth? Signs, nobody pays attention.
That doesn't mean you should.
No, but hang on a second, Councilman.
Please.
Nobody reads the doggone signs. People forgot how to drive. Coming here tonight, I went to make a left-hand turn onto Lafayette, going eastbound on Ford Road. Somebody turns from the Dearborn side going west, and they're using the left-hand turn lane as a merging lane, and they're blowing the horn at me. I'm there turning a legal turn. I want more signage put up. We should have school zones on the street itself. They do that in a lot of places, okay? Signs, fines are doubled. No more going to the magistrate. Give them the damn ticket. Let them pay the insurance fine on it. And that's, hit them again, just like Blake, hit them in the damn pocketbook, okay? Until people go to the front of the magistrate and they get off with a $150 fine, yeah, it's $150, but they're getting away with murder on their license and their insurances.
Okay.
No more.
Council Chair,
Okay, last comment. We
I
gotta
just
wrap it
wanted to
up.
mention that thank you for putting on the agenda because the last update we got from Mr. Deeb, the paint was on back order, but that was early this year. So
Yeah,
by
paint
now,
should be there.
we should have it by now, so.
Okay. Well, by being on the agenda now, we have to have something solid. Come on up, sir. City street name, please.
Thank you. Charles Bonds, Silvery Lane, Dearborn Heights. First of all, my issue would seem trivial compared to the issue before me. But prior to that, thank you, Mr. Swerple, for being a growing up from your little Raider days. He's a little bit bigger. I don't think he make the weight limit anymore. Nonetheless, I'm here tonight over an issue with my dog. I have a dog that's licensed with the city, and we talked about ordinances. We talked about bad apples today. I think there's one running around the city. My significant other walks the dog down around the city hall quite often. And this ordinance officer harasses her when she comes down here. Last week, when she was down here, the officer was sitting in the parking lot over here. To avoid a confrontation, she went back on the other side of the park. He got in his car, drove around, was in the parking lot over there on Silvery Lane. Today, the 13th at 11:30, he wrote a correction reminder and telling us that the dog's license has expired. Please, I could pull my glasses, meet with the clerk, office of City Hall. Here's a screenshot from, I believe it's BSNA, the business, or the dog licenses. This dog has had a license this year on 1/24/23. I've had dogs for more than a decade. They've always had licenses. For an ordinance officer a week later to come up to a citizen's house, and I don't even know how he knows where we live, unless he's stalking her. She never produced ID, never looked at the dog's license. It's license number 415. And he came down a week later and was harassing her again with this ticket. That's an ordinance officer of our city coming up to our citizens, and he couldn't do his due diligence, and we've had the license since January. It's
It's unacceptable behavior. Anybody wants to talk to me, they can reach me through the clerk's office.
Yeah, don't say it in the form, right. So what I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, Coach, if you could give your name and number to the, right there, to George, right next to the clerk,
Yeah.
and still have maybe the ordinance director contact you and try to clear up that
Well, there was a
situation.
phone call earlier, said he would call back, and he did not call back.
Okay, well, at this point, Director Disharum, could you please make sure you contact the coach back tomorrow, and George will have the name and phone number for you, if you could email it to him, please. So if you want to give it to George,
Thank you.
give her your name and
Ordinance
phone number.
director's online now.
I know, but we don't want to discuss specific.
He's raising his hand.
It involves a particular ordinance officer, and I think this has gone on for some time. I'm in a public forum, I'm not going to disclose who it is, but his behavior like that's a liability to the city.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Come on up. City, street name, sir.
Mike Mackey, North Martha, Dearborn Heights. I also want to thank the Summer Festival for tearing up my grass, trashing my property. The city should be held to a higher standard than its residents. My indoor restrooms were used nonstop. My business was closed or limited to about 20%. Of course, if we use the outside bathrooms, I'd have to pay the water bill. Last year I had a food tent at the Spirit Festival. This year it was only for nonprofits, but obviously the food tent was given for vendors with profit, for profit. How long is the discrimination and harassment going to continue against me? Are you guys going to do anything about it? Or are you just going to let it keep happening? I'm asking for proration on my rent back for the 2 weeks that my place got destroyed. That DPW from last year hasn't came out and fixed it yet. I'm also, you guys had a closed session. I want to know where I stand with my rent abatement. And I want you guys to vote on it right now.
What are you talking about?
So,
You
Councilman,
can't comment on closed session.
I paid $29,000 in permit fees when I built Elite Sports. $29,000. Why don't you go look what other people in this city pay to build places that cost millions of dollars? Okay? My sprinkler guy put in a sprinkler. I didn't know he didn't pull a permit. I went back and pulled it years later. I'm sick and tired, and I'm done giving. I'm done giving. I'm sick of, police and fire use my place, use the baseball field, no problem. But I'm done giving. So there's obviously some issues. I've asked you guys to work them out. You haven't. Corporation Council has been mute for months. Okay? What's it gonna take? What are we doing? Council Chair, do I have to pay the rent abatement that was given to me during COVID, yes or no?
I cannot make a decision on that because I don't have the information.
Put a
in front of
motion
me.
on the floor right now and vote on it. Suspend the rules and vote on it.
Okay, obviously, although we can do that, we have no information.
You can
in
do
front of
it,
us
you
to be able
have
to make that
information.
decision.
There was a special meeting regarding it. It was discussed at length. That special meeting was probably inappropriate, okay? There was no litigation at then. We were negotiating in good faith.
Right.
Okay? So I don't even know if that special meeting was allowed.
Let's be clear that we have communicated with his attorney. We
I know,
requested
months-
certain, I'm
Okay,
talking,
all
we
due
requested
respect,
certain
it's my time.
documents
Do not
from
interrupt
you.
me.
Corporation
It's my
Counsel, let him finish
time.
first.
Do not
All right.
We have
interrupt
not
me.
received
I
it.
don't want to hear it. It's my time.
Corporation Counsel, let him
When
finish
I'm
and then
done
you go on.
talking, you can speak. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm not going to let you run me over anymore. It's been months since the corporation attorneys got back to my attorney. It's been months. Ask them.
Council Chair?
One second. Let the Corporation Counsel be able to reply back. Would you like to reply back?
respond. We've been waiting for his attorney to get the information requested, which is, did he get COVID-19 funds to cover the period of time if we give him an abatement? If he's not produced
Okay,
no
wait, Mike,
documentation,
no interruptions,
once he
please.
produces the documentation, we can see, because he doesn't want to double dip, correct? That's what we talked about in this.
You have access to go on the website and see if I got COVID-19 funds. Okay? Obviously, Councilman Muscat came and asked me that, and I did not receive for Elite Sports any PPE money or COVID funds.
Look at the affidavit. This is what I requested your attorney to do, to verify. I've not seen it.
Okay.
Council Chair?
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Mackey is a valuable asset to our community, and he is being treated badly. He pays his own insurance on his property, and he's in the same situation as the concessionaire at the golf course, and the city of Dearborn Heights pays the insurance on the golf course, and so that's one thing right there of not being treated fairly. And if you treat one, you should treat the others the same way. Either way, do it the right way. And I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules, and we can take a vote on this, whether to suspend his 2 months of rent during COVID, which we talked about. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Council Chair? Councilman? I was here when we did this abatement. All of us were, I don't think Mo Beydoun or Councilman Beydoun or Hassan was here. And I know we gave him an abatement, okay? And regardless of what's going on, we did, and we did talk about this in other meetings. And I don't know how, and I know we gave it to him, so I'm not backing down from that.
There's a motion with the clerk's office. It's on video of a meeting.
I'm not going to back down from that because we did, and matter of fact, I think it was kind of somewhat my idea a little bit because of COVID. And I think if we get some information from Corporation Counsel on what is going on, and then I think we should have something on the agenda for the next council meeting to look into this and take a vote, because I don't want to just jump into this with both feet and land in a fire pit, okay? And, but I do remember that, and I'm standing by my vote on that. The record shows that I voted for it, and I believe it was a unanimous vote.
It was.
But,
The mayor seconded it.
yeah.
Just for the
time.
record.
Yeah, but I'd like for Corporation Counsel to come forward with more information, Mr. Mackey. And you know,
Thank you.
I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can.
I've taken a lot, Ray.
And I know you
And I'm
have.
done taking it.
I
And I got
know.
one more thing. There's an outside bathroom. Parks and Recs uses the bathroom for 2 years. They don't supply toilet paper. They don't supply soap. The park, the whole city uses the outside bathroom. Parks and Recs employee left the bathroom unlocked. The day they used it, the toilet ran 713 units. Mariana thinks that I'm responsible for paying that bill. The mayor's assistant thinks I'm responsible for paying that bill. You're not running me over, I promise you.
Okay, Mr. Mackey, just to be fair.
No, she's not running me over.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mackey.
And this is how we treat our prime star citizens in Dearborn Heights. That's a shame, you know, and we cater to the others. It's just ridiculous.
Good evening again, Zohair Abdelhaq,
Excuse me.
Rosemary, Dearborn Heights.
Excuse me. Council Chair, there was, Councilman Wenzel did motion to suspend the rules.
Did you make an official motion?
Yeah, I did. I made a motion.
Sorry.
I don't think it was, yeah, it wasn't seconded.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Wenzel, seconded by Councilman Beydoun. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
I'm a no.
Okay,
I don't think we have enough information right now to make a decision.
I think the decision was already made.
Council Chair, you have plenty of decision, and if you had it.
You want me to do roll call?
I'm sorry, yeah, you
Roll
take roll
call,
call.
okay. Dave Abdallah,
No.
Are we voting on,
we're just we're voting to suspend the
Then
rules.
there had to be another.
discuss it?
This is suspending the rules, and it had to be another motion made based on whatever proposal one council member makes.
Right, okay. Dave Abdallah,
No.
Hassan Ahmad.
Yes.
Mo Baidoon.
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
No.
Ray Muscat,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay? So next item, okay, wait. Who's gonna be somebody making a motion? Well, no. This was just to
No, we need a
suspend the rules.
motion.
Now we want to know what the motion would be, and then we'd have any discussion, and then we'd have a vote on it.
Council Chair,
Councilman Munson,
I want to make a motion that we abide by our previous decision to abate the 2 months' rent.
It was until I got my certificate of occupancy. And the government let me open up.
No,
Because it was
That's
during
correct.
COVID.
Yeah.
that was not the agreement.
Yeah, that was the agreement. The
Okay,
agreement
okay,
was
sorry.
until it
wait,
got.
one second.
Well, hold
one
on,
second.
guys.
Wait, guys. Okay, one
Got the
second.
power,
Yeah.
do it.
1 second. Councilman Wenzel,
I think-
finish your,
okay.
one second. Finish your motion.
Okay.
Corporation Council, you'll have an opportunity to speak, but please no interruptions.
Yeah.
Please no
I
interruptions.
think if Councilman Muscat can refresh my memory, we did abate the rent until the certificate of occupancy or the state allowed him to open up during COVID. And I believe it was 2 months. And how many months did you reclose, Mr. Mackey?
Approximately 8 to 9 months.
8 to 9 months he was closed. He was asking for 2 months rent abatement.
No, it's more than that. I'm asking for the whole thing.
He asking for eight months?
Yes.
One second.
Well, this is something, maybe we should look, I mean, I'm willing to give it to them because every other business, I mean, we're spending our ARPA money on everything but for what it is meant for the people that suffered during COVID. And this is something that this man, if anyone deserves some.
Tom, I got a quick question.
Wait,
I just
guys,
want-
guys.
I got the video
Nobody
here. I
interrupt.
can
Let him
play it
finish.
whenever you're ready.
1 second, let him finish. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Finish.
well, I'm gonna think about this now. The amount of, what's that?
Let him finish.
Go ahead.
But let him finish first.
No, let him, if anybody needs help on a motion, we always let, so what are you gonna say?
Well, Tom, it's not that, I think everybody here wants to see the right thing to happen, right? What I also don't want to do is just put a motion on here just to throw a motion that we don't know.
Okay.
So let's also be cautious about how we put this on, because kind of like Dave Abdullah said, our council chair said, let's be refreshed. We don't want to jump into a pot of fire and not know what's going on. Look, I'm going to tell you right now where I stand on that. If that abatement was happening before I got on here, and now we're trying to go back and charge, the man who's leasing on it, I'm
Okay.
not for that. And you guys, I can tell you right now, you have my support on that.
Okay.
However,
I'll make my
we don't want to
motion.
just throw out a resolution on there.
I'll
It's
change,
not-
I'll change my motion to be on the
Just one,
next
wait,
next
Councilman,
meetings.
Councilman, just one at a time. You guys are
Okay.
talking over each
I'm saying I'm
other.
gonna change my,
So let him finish it. Are you done?
yeah.
You talking to me?
Yeah, with what you were saying?
Well, I'm just saying, let's just be.
Okay.
I know. Okay, now
Okay, I'm gonna
Councilman
change
Wenzel and
my,
Councilman
I'm
Constant.
gonna change my motion to, put the situation with Elite Sports abated rent on the next meeting's agenda, following information that Mr. Mackey can supply us in the administration.
Support. That's
Okay.
it, that's.
Motion made by Councilman Wenzel to add this on next
But we already have.
council meeting's agenda, not on this, not on this. No, we had the motion to just suspend the rules. Now you made a motion. This is his
With the
motion.
proper information. Can you
With
add
the
that
proper
to-
information.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I'd add it on next week's agenda, okay? Seconded by, was it you?
Second, yeah.
Councilman Baidoon, okay. Any discussion on this, and then you're gonna be next to speak. Any discussion on this, Councilman Constant?
Well, we had a gentleman here before about the trees. We have Mr. Ferenczi is the last name, who's been here many times about his neighbor's trees. There's, the way for us to conduct business, and there was a closed session on this, and it is negotiation. I'm familiar with the situation. This is no way to
So there was a
conduct
closed
business
session.
and make a decision that somebody just gets up. Again, we're gonna have, half the vendors with the city here coming up and saying at the last minute, this is a issue involving a lot of money, city money, and we just want to make the right decision and have it able to look at it previously before we vote on it. Now, if we're voting to put it on the next agenda, then we have to give our corporation counsel time to look at, the records and so forth and give us factual information. That's something different. That's something different, but as far as, I've been a lawyer for 32 years, as far as someone saying, your lawyer hasn't called me, I mean, that's like famous. Lawyers are famous for not returning phone calls. And I have to say that I know Mr. Mackey's attorneys, and I have not had good past experience with them.
Okay,
So I'll leave it
Councilman,
at
we
that.
don't need that, okay. Any other comments? Any other comments? Okay,
For that statement, he should recuse himself when he's voting on
Okay,
anything
yeah,
I'm
one second.
involved in.
Sure.
That's a personal attack.
okay, one second.
Not an attack.
Okay, Councilman, 1 second. Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, can you please add on the next city council meeting? I understand, no, but either way,
We're
it's
gonna
not
do
my
the
discussion. Can you please add it on the next agenda,
Also,
on next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the one after
I
that?
think the city should be very fair and constant in the way they treat their tenants. So I mean, I would like my lease to be like the other leases similar in the city to reflect that.
Okay. Mike, I'm sorry, we're way past.
Okay, I'm just-
So thank you. Now, I do want to make a statement. I think Elite Sports is a great organization, and I respect Mr. Mike Mackey a lot. But I don't want to make a decision on behalf of the residents right here, just on drop of a ball. I can't do that.
Decision was made already. Everybody's had their turn here.
Go ahead.
Multiple times, okay? I respect my decision that I made when I made it, okay? But I still want to be able to be fair to our corporation counsel.
Yep.
To give him time to gather the paperwork. And I want it at not dragging this out for months. We need it 2-3 weeks at the most. Send it to us, have another meeting about it, and we can hash this out. But again, like I said, I'm sticking by my vote, and that's just the way it is, because we already done this.
You've done it.
We done it, okay? And now let's get some more information from you. And I was going to put a proposal now, but he beat me kind of to it about the bathroom outside there. If we're gonna do this, we might as well have just a bathroom for the residents to use when they're out there, and his bathrooms be closed to people who are in his business only. I mean, he's being nice enough to let people come in and out and use the bathroom, but we do have a bathroom out there. And that should be for just the guys playing ball, whatever, that's got nothing to do with elite sports. Because he should not be responsible for that water bill if recreation is using it also. Because you never know how what's going to happen. That's just fair. That's only common sense.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Just to,
Council Chair, there's a motion on the table.
Okay, I mean, we could vote on it, but I'm gonna add it on the
Right.
agenda either way, so. Okay, let's go ahead and take this to vote to add it on the agenda at the next city council meeting.
Council
All in
Chair,
favor?
You're not being reasonable to the council, the corporation council, giving them,
He's had more than 2 weeks,
okay,
right?
go ahead,
Yeah.
Council Chair.
He's had
All in favor for adding it on the next city council meeting, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion passed.
I understand.
Thank you.
I will research it, include also the sprinkler system that was illegally obtained, the water leakage.
Okay,
We will
Corporation
get,
Counsel, just to
I'm
be
just,
fair.
I'm just gonna say, when I do my work, I did meet with Mr. Mackey. I am impressed. I asked him to
That's
produce
not in the motion.
documentation, which we
Council
will
Chair, that
include in
wasn't in the
attachment.
motion.
He
Okay.
has produced it to us. We've requested some information from his attorney, so all of it will be
Either
put
way, give us
together.
an update for right now.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Just what's
Go
in the
ahead.
motion.
Okay, we're done with this one, go ahead.
you remember I did ask for extra time.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
How much time?
4 minutes.
4 minutes?
25
Ray, I just want to second what Ray said. It was given not
Wait a minute,
just
are we
for.
starting
Wait, yes, we're still, let's
elite-
start.
Hang on,
It was given to more.
One second,
Time out.
one second.
I want to start so I can get the clock right. So I'm going to
Ours
start.
only goes up to 3
Forget
minutes,
that.
So
so,
I'm going to start it for 1 minute, and then I'll reset it for 3 as you go along.
okay. I'm when you're ready. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. I want just to second what he said. the city council approved not just Elite Sport, they approved another entity who was basically managing the golf course. The abatement was given to more than one company. Okay. I have a question for the mayor. In his deposition, in the case of Joe Hashim against the city and against the mayor, he stated when he was...
Objection, I'm objecting to any hearsay statements.
No, I have it on my phone.
Especially if there's a pending litigation.
Wait.
We are not going to get into your accusations.
He stated that I asked him for a
This is
job.
no, I'm objecting to him putting it on the
He's man enough.
record, which is
He's
hearsay.
man enough. He
and
can
his
say
summary.
what I asked him
I have
for.
no idea what he's saying, but it's
Okay,
wrong.
Mr. Abdelhak,
He is
please.
a liar.
Mr. Haq.
Under oath.
Hey, point of
One
order.
second,
Point of
please.
order.
Now, you
Come
know
on.
this is not okay. And Roger, I need both of you guys 1 second. Please, no interruptions. When you interrupt each other, everybody starts talking over each other and nothing happens. If you'd like to speak, he's asking for no accusations, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Well, what I'm trying to head off is
Just
any
1 second.
any
Your time's not moving.
statements put on a record where there's a pending litigation, and that's what he's actually quoting from, which we don't have in front of us. And
I
if he
have it
does,
on my
he
phone.
can
One
go
second,
through,
one second.
he can go through a FOIA request and
second.
get whatever depositions he needs.
I
But
have
putting
the
on a public
transcript.
record.
Mr.
I have it on my phone.
Putting
But
on
at
a
the same
public
time, Roger,
Don't
I'm not.
lie on my behalf
Mr.
under oath.
Abdelhak, please. At the same time, Roger, just to
Zuhair,
be
you
fair,
gotta calm down.
because I'm all for
Sure.
freedom of speech. If he's quoting something, he's
I
not.
have it.
Well,
One
we don't
second.
have, no.
One
no,
second.
Wait.
Mr. Abdelhak, please.
quoting something now, you want the mayor to react.
No. But it,
I
Go ahead.
want him- I want him
1
to
second,
stop
Mr. Abdelhak.
lying. I
Mr.
want him to
Abdelhak,
stop
please.
lying. Under oath.
Mr. Abdelhak, please.
And then the mayor has an opportunity to respond. That's commenting on the case and the litigation. I don't know what he's gonna say.
I respect that. I respect that.
It's enough
In the
lying
same,
about me.
in the same moment,
There's another forum.
but wait, let's finish the first subject. In the same moment, if as a resident, he makes any statement he wants, so long as he's not a part of the body, whether it's the council or the administration, it's at his discretion. If you're saying, Roger, please, if you're saying he's speaking in regards to a particular lawsuit, I totally respect, we can't speak about it, I get that, and neither can administration. But if a resident wants to speak about something and what he's quoting, it's up to him. Now then at that point, anybody from administration has a right to retort, or they could say nothing because there's a lawsuit. That's at their discretion.
How do we know the lawyers from the other side haven't put him up to see? I'm not saying it's true or not. Now you're asking the mayor to comment on that. Now
But he doesn't have to
it's gonna be
comment.
involved into court, and now it's gonna be brought before the judge.
I get it.
Now, what do we say? Yes or no? I don't know. what
Okay,
to
nobody
say.
from the audience, please. Okay.
All I'm
But
saying
let's pretend the lawyer sent them.
why don't we-
Roger, I will put it on Facebook for you and him and for the public to see
Okay, 1 second.
that we have a liar for mayor.
Okay, hold on.
Zuhair, you gotta stop, please.
Zuhair.
I'm not stopping until he stops
Okay.
telling
But
lies
Roger,
about
just-
me.
But 1 second, I'm finishing. Mr. Abdelhak, please, 1 second, no, 1 second, I got this. Roger, even if somebody else's attorney said to him, come and say this, it's at his discretion to say it, it's at your or the mayor's discretion to either answer him or not answer him.
I had it with him and
But that's up to him.
There's no court order ordering that information to be released. So if you're asking him to comment on that, you're interfering with the litigation.
Why does it say no?
The city and the fiduciary
Roger,
responsibility. How could you not?
1 second.
Roger, let me respond.
So if he wants to bring up something to accuse the mayor,
Roger,
say whatever he wants to say, but he's not going to quote from a deposition which we don't have the full record in front of us.
Roger,
I respectfully disagree.
Roger, with my respect to you, I'm going to put the deposition online for the whole city to see how many times.
You're not, because you're not fair, you're not giving a proper response.
Not.
Context to the quote.
That's
Okay.
okay. I am responsible for what I'm saying, and I promise the city I will put the deposition and show what he said about me.
Okay, so go ahead and
If I
continue with
have
your
asked him
comments.
for a job,
Continue with your comments.
I challenge him to tell this city that I asked him for a favor, for money, for appointment, or anything. I challenge him. Anyway, thank you, and I'm sorry. I apologize to the public, the resident, and everybody, and to the mayor that I raised my voice. On December 22nd, 2020, there was a city council meeting where Joe Hashim submitted bid for 3 bidders for demolishing some houses in the city. The council decided, including the mayor when he was on the city council, 17 minutes into the meeting, he decided to choose the second highest, not the lowest, the second highest bidder, because they didn't have, the lowest bidder didn't have certificate from the state that they are qualified to demolish and to deal with asbestos. He led the opposition, and basically they took the second highest, not the lowest. And now I ask, why wasn't any study done at the golf course for asbestos, if we have any asbestos, if we have anything there? I ask freedom of information request, no response. I sent it yesterday again. So I want to see. Now for Mariana, she signs all the bills which comes from Revive Golf Management. $121,000 a month for labor. Does she have any backup to see how many hours they work? If those people are on payroll, if those people are certified to do the job they done, who received the equipment, who looked at the payment which Revive Golf Management is doing? We don't know except one piece of paper I obtained through FOIA, just one page, 121,000 plus. Nobody qualified in the city received the equipment to see if they are second-hand or third-hand or they are brand new. Nobody looked to see if bids were done to get the fair prices. We spent $3.2 million so far against your resolution, which you stated that you want to spend only $2.57 million. You are above and beyond what you voted for. Wake up, look at what you signed for. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Abdulhaq. Next up, city street name, please.
Hasbe Dune, Ardmore Street, Dearborn Heights. I'm also Vice President of the Crestwood School Board. As I was witnessing the meeting, I know we were talking about little Joey and some things that happened in regards to safety and paint. I'm here from the Crestwood School Board to put my hand out to see what we can do together to make our city and schools safer. We have a great body of trustees right now. I'm sure that if the paint can't be bought by the city, or we do need help from city workers or whatever, we can do it together. I invite all of you to come to the city council meeting, a school board meeting. Of course, I invite the mayor and the administration and all of you to come, that if we do need funding, we could figure out a way to raise the money for the paint, not only for the Crestwood side, but I think we can give some great ideas for the Annapolis side as well.
Trustee, I want you to know, put that aside, we'll get it donated tomorrow.
We'll get it donated tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
It's not hard.
Then what are we waiting for?
I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hassan.
I can't believe we even have.
Anybody else with, and by the way, I see online, Ash Othman, I do see you, I do recognize you.
Somebody here.
We'll be going to Zoom next as soon as the public comments are done in the audience. Because usually I go to Zoom first, but this time I switched it. But, ready?
As soon as he starts talking, as soon as he gives us his name, I started after that.
Gary Mayatki, Plainfield Street, Dearborn Heights. Democracy dies in darkness. We have a real question here, a real problem with transparency.
Martin Luther King.
The Corporation Council does not dictate whether or not something can end up being said by members of the public. The Corporation Council has no such authority. The United States Constitution does not grant him any such authority. And, Council Chair, I applaud you for upholding the principles of the First Amendment and recognizing that people are free to say what they have to say. The Corporation Council can protect the city by saying you shouldn't end up commenting on that issue. But let's continue about transparency. We've ended up hearing some things about the Ecorse Creek, frankly, one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue facing this city. And I think it's really problematic when we're hearing that the county said something. There is a consent judgment against Wayne County that the city has had that I negotiated on behalf of the city years ago that obligates the county to end up doing certain things. The county does not dictate what is to be done. The mayor does not dictate what the city will do. The city council has the authority and should take the initiative to push these issues forward. If you want to learn more about some of these issues, then I would be willing to provide you information at no charge, but you can potentially do these things either one, by waiving privilege, which might not be a good idea, and you should discuss these things with your council, or two, as a resident, you could invite me into a closed session and I could tell you all about some things that I know with respect to this issue, and I would be glad to do so. Next issue with regard to this. By the way, in terms of it being a closed session, under the Open Meetings Act, if there is actual pending litigation, not threatened litigation, not a case, actual pending litigation, you can go into a closed session. Hopefully everyone understands what I'm referring to when I say that. Next issue, kind of related here. Mr., I believe his name is Ayun, if that's the correct way to end up saying his name. I had a client named Aun, and that's the way we pronounced it. But this gentleman basically said at a meeting that there were discussions in a closed session about Mr. Mackey. Now it appears that that has been verified. That sounds like it was totally inappropriate. And Council Chair, if I could have just
15 more seconds, please.
That's fine. So if there was this discussion, then this is a real problem in terms of transparency. Finally, in terms of Act 78 and civil service, it is a transparent and open process. This is not a minor issue. This is a critical issue to avoid favoritism, preferential treatment, and potentially corruption. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Council Chair, if
Yes,
I
go ahead.
might, just a short response. The officers that were sworn in today were from a list certified by Act 78. So Act 78 was not avoided in doing that. Also, we are not down 31 police officers. That was mentioned earlier, just for clarification.
Okay. Thank you, Corporation Counsel. City street name, please.
Pam Swartble, Kenmore Street, Dearborn Heights. Question. So if we do a grassroots to help with the school situation for the painting the roads, the school signs and everything else, and we do it without authorization from the mayor, will we be charged with vandalism? Can we do it as a city? Can
I'm
we-
not an attorney. I'm going to let the attorney handle it. I believe without authorization, you possibly could, but the attorney can better answer that.
Suggest, ma'am, I would suggest you put in writing what your request is. If you're asking us to okay something, I can't give you legal advice.
Well, I know that right here,
Now,
there's
it-
probably
could there be-
100 people that would volunteer to help. So with the schools that we have in Dearborn Heights, we could pretty much get a lot of it pumped out within a couple of days, school zones, paintings, things like that, that wouldn't put a drain on the city and people would volunteer to help out. I pretty much guarantee it. We could put it on Facebook and I'm pretty sure the community would come in droves. It happened at Riverside when we had to put the gate up between Warren Valley and Riverside. I was the one that headed up that gate so that the parents could pick up. I will do it again so that the kids are safe and we can paint down ourselves. We know how to paint.
I would suggest just send an email to the chief of police and we'll get you an answer. He's very receptive.
To you.
I would join if it's
So
okay.
someone else can
to
submit
help,
that?
so.
Will that be good? You can? Okay, all right, we got someone to put that up, all right. So we can do that, you'd be willing to help, will council help?
I'll be there tomorrow. Councilman Ahmad's already buying the paint.
All right, so we'll try to get this as fast as possible, we'll put something up on Facebook, contact people.
It's coming out of the money that Mo Beydoun collects at an ice cream parlor.
I don't care whose pocket it comes out of, if it makes the kids safer, so.
Wait, guys, we're
We could
interrupting.
do a GoFundMe for it.
There's a budget for it. Why don't we use the budget that's assigned?
All right.
Already, yeah, the money's already.
So it sounds like the money's there, we just need the people, and that's what Dearborn Heights is supposed to be, a nice community that helps out, so let's just get it done.
Council Chair,
Okay.
real quick,
Sound good?
I think maybe if we can get the rules and how many feet from the curb we paint lines and make that as legal as, I mean, we gotta make it
Yeah,
legal.
but I mean, if
Because
it's a matter of signs for
somebody might end up
reflectors, we can
fighting
get
that
that
in
on the
court.
signs.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, it's funny, Ray, I swear to God, you could do it too.
I mean, we can start out with the signs.
I'm better
before we
at
do
it
the
than
paint.
you.
Anybody else in the audience, because I might go to Zoom. Anybody else in the audience that would like to speak?
This young man.
Wait, the gentleman was before you, Tom.
Yep.
All right, come on up, sir.
How, Ray?
This gentleman asked for an extra minute.
I didn't have supper, guys.
I can't read.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Bless you.
Do with that.
Thank you. Must be the tree.
No, it's not a tree.
How many minutes did you get? Extra
With
minute?
that extra minute.
I'm gonna start that and then I'll restart it. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
It was supposed to be.
That's what, I'm just gonna go down to 2 minutes. Me too. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My name's Ron Frenzy, live on Fairwood in Dearborn Heights, and just have two ideas here. About a year and a half ago, I gave out a article from the Wall Street Journal about Facebook knows Instagram is toxic for teen girls. And it had to do with Instagram encouraging girls to be depressed and have anxiety, also have eating disorders. Now, there's a new article that just came up just a couple of weeks ago, which you have now. It's so over the top, so horrendous. If I talked about it, I would probably be stopped. So my concern is if all the members could read it and then make 10, 20, or 30 copies for parents, because they may think twice about what's going on Instagram for their kids.
I think it might be a good idea to give a copy to the trustee, the two trustees. here.
Oh,
I
I
was
don't
just
know.
taking a photo of it, so I'm gonna make sure I read it tonight.
Yeah, it's really over the top what's going on. And I'm sure parents don't know about it. The second thing is, what's one way to have cars slow around schools? Well, no one's mentioned ever about what's called rumble strips. So the rumble strips are like when you're on I-75 and you doze off and you go over into the shoulder, you make that speed bumps. Yeah, but they're really tiny. So they're like grooves in the road. So I think that would be good too, if you had those around all the schools. And then maybe the third thing is, there's something called Achman's razor. It's an old saying. Did you ever hear that? Achman's razor? Yeah. It's like, what it means is the simplest, easiest thing to do to solve a problem is usually the best. So what I'm talking about is at 2:30, all the cars that are around the high school, how to just miraculously get rid of them, especially in Green Lawn parking lot where people can be hit, or there's a small parking lot just south of Canfield Center that there's just lots of cars in there. All the principal has to do is tell all the kids next year to park in Canfield Lot. Canfield Lot has got 70 open spaces, and around 2:30, there's generally about 10 people that occupy the spaces. Behind the lot is a circle, and there's another 20 or 30. So we're looking at maybe about 90 empty spaces to solve a problem that's maybe 25, 30 cars. So it's an easy thing. Like I said, the easiest thing, you just tell the principal to announce this is where you're parked, because I'm sure the principal tells now where the teachers should park, where the students should park, but not anything about where they should be picked up.
Oh, good idea.
So,
Thank you, Ron.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron.
Good afternoon, Mariana Hernandez, North Lafayette Street, Chief of Staff.
But are you speaking?
I'm speaking as the Chief of Staff.
Okay.
3 minutes still?
And all I want to say right now is welcome to the city of Dearborn Heights and any city government. There are too many issues, too little money, too little time. All of the issues that you have mentioned today from Act 78, public meetings are available. Anyone can attend. That list is always certified there. Food trucks, trees, bids, the controller, the budget. There are so many issues, and for the administration, it is honestly very hard to understand what you as a body want us to focus on, because it changes every day. Even with the budget, you kept giving us ideas as individuals, but never as a body. So my recommendation would be that you start working as a body. Pick 3 things that you want us to focus on and give us 6 months or whatever you want. But you can't just keep asking for different things every 5 seconds. I also highly recommend that you go back to Open Meetings Act training now that we have the MML renewal available. I encourage you to go to those MML trainings. There are certified classes that teach you how to do budget processing, that teach you how to write ordinances, that teach you what you have to do as elected officials to help your residents. This isn't a one-person job. I feel accused by multiple people because I did my job. My job by the council was to bring issues to your attention when people were late on fees, when there were legal issues, and I did so. It is not my job to make the decisions as to what to do after I bring these issues to your attention. It is yours. So with regards to that, I apologize for any delays that any business members or partners have felt. It is not my place to make that decision. With regards to the streets, again, I was giving instruction again today to work again on what do you want us to do, right? We're doing an extensive traffic study with the TIA and our engineer and our police department. But if you want us to just do a simple, small solution, which is just painting, sure, we can do that, but that is not a comprehensive solution. That is not the recommendation of the engineers. But if that's what you want, sure, give us instructions to do that, but be specific of what you want. You know, you can't just say like, do it, give me an update for all of them. You have to be more specific.
Mariana, I just want to cut you off. I think I asked you for an update to painting the score on the
So again, I don't know if that's what you as the MOBE do want, or if that's what
I
the
think
body
we
as
had
a
a
whole.
discussion on it, though.
Again, I don't know if that's what you MOBE do wants, or the body as a whole. And that's the same issue we had with the budget. We hear from one council member, but that doesn't give us instruction as the administration as to what does the council as a body want.
Mariana, I want you to know the council of the body, the administration, the police chief, everybody has requested to have these things painted, and we were told that they're on back order. So I want you to know the entire body wants them painted. It's not, and to be honest with you, it's insulting because I know the statement was that I asked you, can you give us an update on what you could potentially do? I didn't demand you to do something. I said, can you give us an update on tomorrow on how we can get this to be done? That's what I requested from you.
And I'm gonna tell you, Mariana, I'm honestly insulted by how you're speaking to us, because you're speaking to us like little kids. All we are asking for is progress, and I've said this a million times, it's kitchen sink stuff. So, for example, I mean, I didn't want to bring this up, but you brought this up. The stuff with the schools. Once we see kitchen table stuff, like things moving, painting, somebody's painting, I mean, Ali Deeb and the chief said they've taken this on. This was 8-9 months ago. I didn't want to talk about this, but now you're bringing me boiling, so I'm gonna talk. This was 8-9 months ago.
Not Mariana.
I know, but you came up to represent administration saying basically we're idiots. We're not.
No, I came to tell you to speak as a body.
There's been no, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's been no progress on this. I have not seen anybody come back to us and say, this is what we're gonna do. All we're asking for is progress. No resident should put up with the bullshit of no painting of streets. Sorry.
Point of order. Point of order. Point of order, Council Chair. Council Chair, I'm calling for a point of order.
All right, point of order.
Point of order. Number one, I think we should direct the paint issue to the DPW director.
Yes.
That's his job.
Well, I said that, Ray.
And I'm agreeing with you.
And I was insulted for it.
Councilman, please. You're always interrupting sometimes.
So are you.
Okay, but let him.
Councilman, please. Okay?
I have 30 seconds left. Can I just
Okay,
finish?
let him finish her statement.
And then I'm going to speak on that.
Again, this is a clear example of what I'm trying to say. We need to be better. We need to behave better in this meetings.
We need to
This
do
is not
something
okay.
for the
I'm just
residents.
recommending that you use the tools that are available to you to get better understanding on how to move forward.
Council Chair.
Council Chair.
Okay, Councilman Muscat is first. Please don't talk over each other.
We as a body wanted this done. We asked to get the paint to be done. It's the DPW's director's job to get this paint. Now, it's up to the administration to tell them, get the paint. And if they did, then the DPW director has failed us. And I don't want to talk bad about directors, but this is paint. Paint, okay? I know it's a special paint that goes on the ground, but the county and the state puts it out there all the time. I'm watching them stripe 94 when they redoing 94 out in Jackson. That's the state. They're getting paint from someplace, okay? So it's up to the DPW director, and I think the administration should immediately tomorrow morning call him up and say, where's the paint? Okay? Where's the damn paint? Okay? So, and that's the bottom line. We have to hold them responsible for doing their jobs. We can't tell them what to do. All we can do as a body, allocate the money for the paint. So,
Talking from the audience, please.
so that's where I'm getting at. So let's find out where the paint is so we can buy the paint. DPW does have a budget. They got road budget, and there's money in that road budget. And the paint can't possibly be that expensive and have it striped. Thank you.
Councilman Wenzel.
And I'm agreeing with Councilman Baydun.
By the way, I just want to say for the record, I'm in no means, when I asked Mariana to please give us an update, was I directing her to do anything? Because I'm not, at the end of the day, I am not your boss. I am not asking you to do anything, but all I'm asking for is an update. Hey, and what I said was on the record, you can go back and watch, was please get in contact with DPW, give us an update, see what it's going to take. I'm not telling you I want it done tomorrow, but I would love for it to be done. And people have been asking for it for 8 months. But all I simply asked was, can you give us an update? You said no. You nodded your head. So I'm gonna, and then you got up here telling me to take an MMRM class. Well, let me tell you, I'm very familiar with how to be operating over here. I was elected by the people at the end of the day. I don't need to be insulted. But hold on, Council Chair. Look, all I simply asked was for DPW, can you get in contact with DPW, give us an update on when we're going to get these things painted? Yeah, the school year's over. So this paint is going to be torn up by the fall.
Got it.
Okay, Councilman Ahmad.
Thank you, Council Chair. And like Councilman Adu mentioned, we did request as a body, we did request those things to be painted. And like I said, Director Deep said that paint was on back order. I do want to thank the Chief of Staff for her advice for us to go back to school. I would like to ask this council body, this honorable council body, maybe we can request as a body for her to send her back to school to learn how to address this council body. Because this is insulting what you just said.
That's not what she said.
Okay.
This is nice for her to go home to learn how.
No, wait. No comments from the audience, please. Okay, Councilman Wenzel, you're up next. Are you speaking as a councilman or as a resident?
Well, I guess I'm speaking as a councilman. I live on Tulane Street in Dearborn Heights. As Ms. King asked, we've been told things are in motion, and what's going on? What's the update? That's what we keep on getting. Things are happening, but nothing's. It's obvious nothing's happening. And since when do we have to ask to have the street striped around the schools? That's an every year occurrence. It goes on we shouldn't have to ask for it. Like a special thing. Oh, we didn't know you wanted them striped. Oops, sorry. It's something that happens every year for years and years, as long as I lived in Dearborn Heights. We shouldn't have to ask for it. And we've got all kinds of issues. Like she said, we do have a lot of issues, and it's too bad because we've had more issues in the last couple of years than I've ever experienced in my whole lifetime, 66 years at Dearborn Heights, and it's unbelievable. It's blowing my mind how much bull crap is going on with the city, all the problems we're having. Not just one, not just two, but dozens and dozens. Everywhere you turn, there's a problem. our ordinance department is, I don't know what it's going to take. It's got to be revamped. They need more power. We need definitely need more guys. We need the leadership in the ordinance department to act immediately on things. Not, I'm working on it and I'm going to issue a ticket next week. At the end of next week, sometime next week, I'll issue a ticket. If you know you're going to get them a ticket, give them the darn ticket today. Don't wait. And we're giving people too much time on this. There's a DTE pole over one of my neighbor's house. It's got 2 giant transformers on it. Last year I took a picture. It was leaning toward their house. They live right in the corner. This year it's like this.
Seen it.
And I don't know who's responsible for that. It's on city property. Our ordinance department should write DTE and say, fix this thing immediately or we're going to fine you. And lastly, in the last 2 days, I've been bombarded with 37 texts, emails, and messages on Facebook about the condition of the Warren Valley Golf Course Banquet Center. I've got over 100 pictures here, and I don't know what's going on there. I'm not making any accusations at all. But these pictures are alarming. They show water stains on the ceilings, water coming down the walls, wood structures. I don't know if they're using the right proper wood there. I'm asking the administration, just because I want to find out what's going on there. I'm not saying anything's going on. Hopefully everything's on the up and up and all the right construction materials are being used and everything's good, because this isn't an issue about someone not liking someone or, someone not liking something that happened. It's a public safety issue. If there's bad construction, and I'm not saying there is, but if there is, and we have a fire in there and the fire department comes in there and the ceiling falls on them, the city's liable. I mean, we should have, I'm asking the administration to direct the building department to put a temporary stop work order on that so we can get the right inspectors in there. There's issues with, I've heard about not having the proper permits pulled. People that work for the city are working on that. I mean, there's so many things going on, and I just would like to clear all this up and say, hey, there's nothing wrong. Let's do the right thing, put a stop work order on there. Let's get the right inspectors in there, check it all out.
Don.
Okay.
But in retrospect, Councilman, I went to the building department myself, and I got copies of the permits with the proper trades from Eric Waitland, okay? So all it takes is to go in the office and find and ask them to give you the copies of the permits.
I'm saying.
All you got, seriously, we're beating up Warren Valley and beating it up, and you come up here wait a minute, Councilman, please.
I got photos, though.
Well, I understand, but I've also been.
I just want to clarify
Councilman,
Okay,
please.
Councilman.
Please, I've also been in the building and saw it with my 2 eyes.
What'd you see?
The whole thing was gutted. There was no water leaks like everybody was talking about months ago. It was all fixed. So I personally, Councilman, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
1 second.
You could also go.
Ray, it hasn't rained in a month.
Councilman, please. You always come up here and you beat up Warren Valley. You do it all the time, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of you beating up Warren Valley. Please go. I'm just asking you to please go to the building engineering department and pull the permits instead of coming up here and saying that.
Well, they can show me permits.
Go find them in the building engineering department.
Okay, that's enough.
Because you failed to do that.
That's enough, Councilman, that's enough. Okay, Councilman Wenzel.
Come on, go find them.
If there is an issue, turn those into the building department. If you feel more comfortable for transparency reasons, email them to the building department and include all us council members.
When you brought it up the last time, that's exactly what I did.
That's enough on this subject. Anybody else with?
Council Chair, I just want you to know, Councilman Tom Mansour, I want you to know something. I've actually golfed Warden Valley first week they opened, and it was raining, it was a little wet. I was like, man, what is this? I was actually a little disappointed. I've actually golfed it 10 other times this season. And I swear to God, guys, I'm not making this up. It is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Hold on. I want you to know something. The golf course is, I'm going to tell you, is so well put together so quickly. And what it looked like last year to what it is today.
Major improvement.
Let me tell you guys. Let me tell you. Well, hang on.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, don't forget, it's a lot of land. Guys, just hold on for a second. Look, it seems like we're so quick. We want to see it fail. No, we don't want to see it fail, but this, at the end of the day, we own this. Guys, hold on for a second. We own Warren Valley, right?
Thank you.
And I'm telling you guys right now, I don't know what it looks like inside, but I can tell you the outside of the golf course, from the golf carts to the cart paths to the greens, it looks so well. And I swear to God, I'm enjoying. I played on Sunday.
Council
Granted,
Chair.
there's one hole that's a little,
Council Chair,
Okay.
I visited.
But we don't want to make this thing a special
I know we're not, but I know we're not.
I took a tour with
But Tom, I want
Jason
you to
from
also
Revive.
know
Yeah.
that walking in and out, I swear to you, the facility looks good, man.
And, well,
It does look
I
good.
never said anything bad
All right.
about the golf course.
I know, but
Listen,
Tom, Councilman,
listen.
just turn it into the building
I
department.
will, but I'm saying, people are putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying anything about the golf course. The golf course, I took a
Audience,
tour of
please.
it. It looks great. It might take a whole season to grow in and everything, all the excavating they had to do. But, I mean, you put $3 million into a golf course of city money, it better look good, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You toured just walking into the golf shop. How does that look? Be honest with me.
It looks good.
It looks amazing.
Well, not amazing.
It looks
good.
really good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay,
So I
nothing
mean,
for me,
let's just
audience. I don't
judge
want to throw
based on
somebody
the
out.
two
Nothing
things that
from
we
me,
can
audience.
judge on that building.
I'm just
Okay.
saying, I'm not saying
All
nothing's
right, we're not going to
bad.
go into a debate on this.
You guys are putting
Okay,
words in my
Councilman.
mouth.
We need a point of
Councilman,
order,
are you
please.
speaking, you got 3 minutes, are you speaking as a councilman or as a resident?
I'm speaking as a resident, Ray Muscat, Havelock Street.
Okay.
We keep beating this to hang on, my phone is right there. Just hit start. Down at the bottom. So we keep beating this up. Yes, we did put a lot of money into the golf course. But after speaking to a lot of golfers, okay, one who was very skeptical of the golf course that works at a local business here, kept asking me, goes, well, I'm not too sure. I said, go play it and make up your own mind. I seen him again a few weeks later. He said, I played the course. And if I have to rate it between 1 and 10, it's a 10. Okay, yeah. This is the best this golf course has been in years and years and years. People always want to say how great this golf course was. This golf course was junk for 35, 40 years. And according to golfers, according to real golfers, like I asked my son, who's a scratch golfer, do you want come on play Warren Valley? He goes, why the heck would I want to play at that hole? Okay, why would I want to go play that crappy golf course? That's what real golfers tell you. That's why Warren Valley was never even put in a free press as a golf course to see. And all you have to do is look at the golf report at the beginning of the year. Warren Valley hasn't been mentioned in 25 years.
That's right.
Okay, come on, face the reality. And the golf course itself looks fabulous. The inside of the place, it's gutted. They're working on it. They're doing the best job that they probably can do. And all you had to do, Councilman, is go and pull the permits yourself. Because when you mentioned it and somebody else mentioned it to me, first thing I did was I was at the building engineering department looking for those permits and seeing the Harlan Electric companies that people say, well, we weren't using qualified electricians. And it was Harlan Electric. Now, you find a better one than that. I dare you. Okay? And you sit there and laugh about it.
No, they can give you any permit. How do you know they're not doing work that they don't even know about, that not permitted?
Oh, you know, how much work did you do that nobody knew?
Open your
How
eyes.
much work do people do in the city that nobody knows? But you're beating up the golf course all the time, and it's our golf course.
Exactly.
And I'm sick and tired of people beating
It's not
up
our golf course
course
anymore.
Okay.
It's not?
No.
Whose is it?
Well, it's not ours. Can you go in there and do anything you want to it?
And all
Can you?
were
Can the
you
city
able to
go
do
in
it
there and do
before?
anything they want
When the
to it?
county owned it, were you able to do it?
We could, yeah, we could do
Okay.
anything we want.
I'm just asking a question.
Councilman.
No, he's
Were
asking
you
a
able to
question.
do what you wanted to do when the county owned it?
When the county
You guys,
no.
guys,
And who owned
Councilman,
it before us?
this is not a back and forth. Okay,
No,
this is
listen,
over.
no, it is.
Councilman Muscat, thank you.
Mike Mackey, he's making a comment that we can't go in there and do what we want.
All right.
We
can't.
weren't able to do it when
We
the
can't
county
even
owned it.
use the
All right,
parking lot unless we get
Councilman Wenzel.
permission.
Guys, that's it.
Right or wrong?
All right, stop. That's it,
I
thank
go in
you.
there all the time.
Kim has to
All right,
cancel
who's
the event.
next? Who's
We
next?
have 3 people
Come on up.
waiting.
Our Parks and Recreation director
You're
has,
wrong.
our Parks and
All right, come on
Recreation
up.
director has to cancel
All
the
right,
event
gentlemen, is the
because we
lady
can't use the
speaking,
parking lot.
please? Go ahead.
Hello, sorry, that's a hard act to follow. My name is Zainab Hashmi. Just a quick comment. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but we're going with it. So first, just want to thank you all for sharing your perspective, and I want to recognize that, holding elected office is no easy feat. Mayor Bazey, council members, clerk. And so I want to thank you for your hard work and for your effort and for your diligence in making sure, the city is the best that it can be. I did just want to say that I know there was a point mentioned earlier about limited resources being an important consideration when it comes to effectively serving and meeting the needs of our residents. And while it is true that governments operate within certain constraints, time, resources, money, I just want to say as a young person, it's really important to me to mention that this shouldn't serve as a barrier to our collective commitment to addressing community needs. It's crucial to challenge the perception of government as a second-rate option or a place to send your B team. Despite limited resources, there is an obligation to meet the moment, to think innovatively, and to maximize efficiency to meet community needs. The answer isn't attacks and vilification. The answer is collaboration, partnership. The answer is meeting the moment as it comes to you. There are tons of issues wrong with the city. That doesn't mean we hunker down and, refuse to stand up and meet the moment. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment. I'd like to commend Zainab. She was the Arab Student Union president at Fortson High School, and she's been a community activist at 18 years old throughout the community for the last...
16.
You're not 18 yet? Yeah, I know. I'm talking about when you were 18, not now. At 17, 16, and 15, and 18 years old, she was doing stuff that typically 30 and 40-year-olds can barely do. So I commend you for all your activism, and you've always been under the radar. Nobody knows what you're doing, but I commend you and any other young members that work for the betterment of the community. So God bless you.
She's a recipient for the NBA for the University of Michigan, but go green, go white.
That's right. U of M. Anybody else in the audience without? Okay, if you don't mind, please, because I've
Let's
had
resume.
Ash Osman waiting for a while. I'm gonna allow her to go on, then I'm gonna go back to the audience, and I'll go back to Tim Emery. Ash, you can go ahead, please. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name, city, street.
Hi, my name is Ash Othman, Rochelle Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. I first of all like to thank the director, I believe her name is Kim, with Parks and Recs for the amazing summer festival that we did have. I do also want to thank the police that were there that helped keep all of us residents safe, especially when it came to nighttime and any physical altercations or anything that was happening. I also want to thank the library director for everything that he is doing. My daughter loves the summer programs and she loves the boxes that we receive, so thank you for that. Also, I'm very disappointed in the city council meeting. I think everybody needs to work as a team. I'm not just saying city council, I'm saying everybody. The way everybody's interrupting each other, speaking above each other, as residents, we don't want to see that. We want to see everybody working together. We don't want to see anybody interrupting each other, yelling at each other. I was just very disappointed in this meeting as my 7-year-old daughter watches this meeting with me. And it's not something I allowed her to finish watching. And I did not appreciate the way that the chief of staff was spoken to. As a female, I don't feel like anybody should ever speak to another female like that, especially from a man's perspective. I do feel like instead of everybody interrupting and everybody just, hey, say what you want to say, but in a different tone. Let's not all attack. And then everybody interrupting everybody, it shouldn't be said. From what I see, the chief of staff works very hard with everything that she does. And if there's something that, hey, that's not liked or something, reach out to her on the side. But I just did not like how that was handled. And I don't like the way that this meeting was ran. We shouldn't, as city council members, nobody should be yelling at each other. We just witnessed our own city council members yelling at each other. It shouldn't be. Work as a team. You guys, we can make so much more better changes working as a team with our administration, with our chief of staff, with our city council. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Come on up. Yes, come on up. You're next. And then Tim will be getting you next.
Good evening. My name is Ned Apigian, and I live on Rosetta Street.
Dearborn Heights. I have to say to the clerk, Dearborn Heights.
There are times they come here and they complain about the trees and
Bless you.
our ordinances, but I have a basic question. When we come here and we point a discrepancy, what's done about it? Does the administration mark it down and send the appropriate ordinance person? The last time I came here, I told you there are 50% of the fences in this city are wrong. They're against the ordinance. You could say some of them are old. How come new ones are popping up? I pointed out that there are fences in front yards being built now. It's not allowed, isn't it? Now, other thing is we need to do something about trees. There are people that trim trees. I know they're trimming them. The city's not going there. And they're mutilating trees, trimming a tree so the branches don't go over a street. A typical bridge is 17 feet, not 50 and 60 feet, cutting off. That's not a tree, a telephone pole with an umbrella on top. So I pointed that out. Right now, I want to talk about something more important that deals with me personally. On Rosetta Street, as it comes to Ford Road, presently the traffic has been backed up because the curbs are being adjusted for handicapped wheelchairs being able to go down. That subdivision was completely repaved in 2 phases, 5, 6, 7, how many years ago? And Ford Road is a state road, and that was paved recently. But the apron between Ford Road and the subdivision is a mess. If you look at the taxes that people pay in that subdivision, they average $11,000 and $12,000. When I was campaigning and people complained to me about their taxes, they got to go through that track to get into the subdivision is terrible. Not for the kind of money they got to pay. So what do we do about this? The approach on Warren to enter that subdivision was taken care of by the contractor that did half of the subdivision. It is clear that when we talk about things that are being done, we're building things in the city right away. The mailbox, to the manor house, that there's no manor house. We're building these brick monstrosities that I hope nobody hits them and gets concerned. You know the little room that we have meetings in with the lawyers? That's where you're going to be. If anybody gets killed or hurt, hitting those things because you're going to pay. Those things were built without permits, and it's going to be a gigantic problem for you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? All right, we're going to go to the 2 people on Zoom, and hopefully that should end our meeting. Next up is Tim Emery. Go ahead, please. He's muted. Can you unmute, please, Tim?
Okay.
All right, now we can hear you.
Live, not memories. We'll age that one. Okay. When you talk about paying the roads.
Name?
You know, I'm sorry, Tim, city, street name?
Tim Emery, Eaton, Dearborn Heights. When you use the paint, make sure it's a non-slip paint. Because if you don't, you use the wrong kind of paint, we're going to have other problems. And also, don't forget Westwood.
No.
I mean, I heard everybody talk about Crestwood, talk about D7, but we have this other fantastic school district in this city, and don't forget about us. Because we're the Bulldogs. Right,
Yeah.
Mayor?
Right. That's right.
But and also, guys, man, the meeting tonight was sad. Dave, you got to use that gavel. I'm sorry, you got to use that gavel. I mean, because it got out of hand, completely out of hand. It made me sad. I mean, we're respect each other. We got a great city, got a great city council. Man, I don't want to see that again. Good night.
Thank you, Tim.
Tim.
Thanks.
Next up is Omar Mendez. Please unmute.
Omar Mendez, Cherry Hill Street here, Dearborn Heights. First of all, I just wanted to go ahead and applaud Ash for bringing that up. And then secondly, I just wanted to also express my concerns because I was extremely disturbed the way that Mariana was spoken to. She was interrupted, there was profanity used. Everyone else is permitted to speak and allowed the time, and the council advocates for those who are speaking, right? And advocates for people's freedom of speech. So I don't understand why that doesn't apply to female employees.
This
So
is
you
nothing to
guys
do with
need
female or
to
male, but go
fully
on.
utilize Robert's Rules of Order because this is chaos.
Are you still speaking or are you all set? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is, let's not comment on everything.
I won't
We don't have to comment on every single thing.
We'll be-
All right, next up is Mike. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
How you doing tonight?
Hey, Mike.
Good.
Hi,
City street
Mike
name,
Black.
please.
Mike Blackburn, aren't
You muted yourself, Mike.
oh. I'm just here to offer a little historical.
Wait, is this Mike Blackburn? Okay.
Yes.
Are you speaking as a city employee or as a resident, please?
Probably a little bit of both.
Well, I know, but you gotta pick one or the other because anything you say as an employee obviously would be the city administration speaking. So I need to know which one you want to speak as. Either one.
Okay, I will speak as an employee.
Okay, go ahead.
As a 29-year employee, and I'm only going to give historical context to this. I'm not offering any opinion with this at all. When it comes to the paint striping on the roads, last year, we were not able to secure paint. As the state roads and county roads were done, that is true. The biggest, I have a friend that works for one of those companies. The biggest company bought up 50,000 gallons of the striping paint and we were not able to purchase any. So that's why they didn't get done last year. When you stripe an intersection, you cannot stripe all four corners of an intersection at once because cars would not be able to go through the intersections. The east and west road and the north and south road, you have to do either the eastbound or the westbound, then the northbound or the southbound. You have to wait for it to dry, then you have to switch. So you usually, when you do one intersection, you go down, you do one side east and west, one side north and south, then you go down, you do another one, and you end up coming back and you end up getting the other sides. So it takes a little bit of time because there's travel time in there. And also, typically, the city never started it till after school gets out because it gets in the way of the buses. And that is a major concern, whether it's you're striping where a bus stop is or something else. It's usually not done until after school gets out, is usually the process that the city has done forever, is they waited till after school was out. And if you read the paint, the striping paint, at nighttime, if it gets below 50, they say you don't want to do exterior paint when it's below 50 degrees. So if it's going to get below 50 degrees at night, it's not a good time to do it. You want nice hot days so the paint bakes into the cement itself. So it is on the radar. Striping paint is hard to find, and it's being worked on. Trust me, it's being worked on. And last fall, when Councilman Wenzel said that he was able to find some that was oil-based paint, and maybe Councilman Muscat would know this, maybe somebody else will, you cannot put oil-based paint down on the ground in November. It's just not going to work. It'll never dry. To say that I hear that things are not being done, it's timing.
I just wish some.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Anybody else
Thanks,
on
Mike.
Zoom? Anybody else in the audience?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by
Second.
Councilman Bedun,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.